High. He coached for 5 years. And so defense is his specialty. Glasgow had a tremendous defensive team last year. They had a tremendous offensive team last year. We'll see if that holds true tonight.
They did, and the one thing that's interesting about Indian River is even though they were shut out twice last year, they still ended the season averaging 20 points per game. So offense, for the most part, wasn't a problem for them. The problem was defense. As I said, they averaged about 20, 21 points a game. They were giving up just about 42 points a game. So they really got their work cut out for them against a Glasgow team that is going to show a little bit of diversity on offense, but is very good when they get going. When they're rolling downhill, they can be very tough to stop.
Glasgow's won the toss and deferred until the second half. They will defend the south goal, so they'll be going straight into about a 13-mile-an-hour wind. Yasir Hatcher is going to kick it off for the Dragons. They're decked out in their red jerseys, black pants, and looks like new black helmets. I guess when you win the conference championship, you get new helmets.
Boy, they're sharp.
Indian River looks like William and Mary, as you pointed out, Marty. The white shirts, the yellow pants with the green stripes, and the green helmets, and they will be defending the north goal, moving left to right as we see it. Kevin Custis and Jacob Anderson are the return men for Indian River. A nice scene beforehand when Jacob Anderson was joined by his brother, who is one of the buddies here for the Indian River team. And the DFRC Classic is all about people with intellectual disabilities. And so a little squib kick there is taken at the 40-yard line, and hauled down quickly is Brandon Cheedy at about the 43. So Indian River will start with the ball 1st and 10 on their own 43-yard line. They're led by quarterback Jalen Sneed, only a sophomore, had 1 touchdown last year, 3 interceptions, and only 39 attempts. Marty, and apparently the quarterback competition came down to the very end, because I talked to Phil Townsend about halfway through camp, and he said he would let me know. And so it's Jalen Sneed who's going to be under center for Indian River. They run a spread offense.
You see right away there's a big size discrepancy on that line with Glasgow having the edge.
The handoff is to Anderson up the middle, and he's going to get near a first down, going to be about 3 yards, maybe 2 yards shy. So might have caught Glasgow off balance there with a quick snap.
Yeah, one of the things we looked at with Indian River is they do have the ability to hit the hole quickly. In the scrimmage game we saw with Hodgson, they were able to do that every now and then. I imagine Glasgow is going to work to shut that off fairly quickly.
Sneed is in the pistol formation, and Anderson is to his left, and a little confusion on whether he was supposed to get the ball. He ended up with it, but then runs into a brick wall, and that is Darren Bacon, the big offensive lineman, junior out of Glasgow, and it's going to be a loss of about 3 yards, going to bring up a third, and it looks like about 7.
That was just a little overwhelming play there from the Glasgow defensive line. It looked at one point like Sneed knew he was going to take a hit, so he said to Anderson, "Here, pal, you take it."
There was almost a fumble there
Yes.
at the exchange, like you said, and so a little confusion right off the bat. We might see that more than once here as these teams are playing real football for the first time. The snap goes back to Sneed. He rolls out to his left, and he's got a wide-open receiver. That's Kevin Custis down the left side, 10-5, touchdown, and Indian River strikes first on the first series of the game to go up 6-0.
Jevin Sneed, that was an amazing play. He rolled out to his left. The Glasgow defensive line was all over him. They overwhelmed the Indian River line at the line of scrimmage. But Sneed with a great job, although, John, unfortunately for Indian River, this one's coming back. There was a flag on the play, which we didn't see. Custis is their returning leading rusher from last season. He's a great kid. He's got some speed. Actually, the penalty is going to be on Glasgow.
Wow.
So the touchdown is going to count. So just like that. Boy, Jevin Sneed, he showed some arm on that, John.
Yeah.
He dropped a laser beam in there to Kevin Custis, who finished it off, pulled away from the back of the defensive backfield for Glasgow. So a great start for Indian River.
And so it was a Sneed to Custis down the left sideline. I thought, like you did, it was going to be against Indian River because they were walking back. And I've got it, I think it was about a 55-yard touchdown there, connection between the two, 6-0. Second career touchdown pass for Sneed, and a little confusion there on the extra point. The attempt is going to be a kick, but the ball never got snapped, and everybody moved.
Looks
so
like everybody knew the
snap
snap count but the center, yeah. Everybody jumped, and the center never moved the ball.
Alberto Alamilo is on to attempt the extra point. Holding will be Cole Hitch, but the ball never got back there. And now Coach Phil Townsend is going to make a quick change here. And so he obviously didn't like what he saw with that attempt. Still hard to tell whether they're going to try to kick it. They've got a lot of smaller skills players coming in. And so we'll see what they try to do.
They did bring Snead back into the game. It looks like they're going to go for two here, try to take advantage of the better field position. They're about a yard and a half away from the end zone, try to build this lead quickly.
Snead's in the shotgun. He hands it off to Kevin Custis, and he gets drilled immediately and kept out of the end zone. Tymir Wilson with the big hit there. So the two-point conversion is no good, and with 10:45 to play here in the first quarter, Indian River has taken a 6-0 lead over Glasgow. This is the game of the week on Fox Sports 1290 and 302 Sports.
The Orioles' final homestand of the season starts on Monday, September 18th, as the Birds continue their push toward the postseason against the Boston Red Sox and Tampa Bay Rays. On Tuesday, September 19th, all fans will receive an Orioles knit cap. Then don't miss Fan Appreciation Weekend, including post-game fireworks, an Orioles hooded sweatshirt, and an Oriole Bird bobblehead toothbrush holder presented by United Concordia. Good seats still remain and start as low as $15. For tickets, visit Orioles.com.
Welcome back to the Delaware High School football game of the week on Fox Sports 1290.
Didn't take long, just 3 plays, and Indian River is on the scoreboard. A 50-plus yard pass from Snead to Custis gives the Indians a 6-0 lead over Glasgow High here in the DFRC Kickoff Classic. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. Ronnie Vickers is back in the studio. And kicking off for Indian River is going to be Alberto Alamilo. 3 people back for the Glasgow Dragons. Looks like Reginald Grinnell, and the ball is going to go to Keyshawn Jones, who gets it at the 18-yard line, tries to go up the middle, gets pushed back inside by Custis, and is going to be dragged down by Custis, who caught back up with him at the 33-yard line. Going to be 1st and 10 at the 33 for Glasgow.
Great job of the kickoff coverage team by Indian River. And, boy, you have to think if Michael Richardson had any misgivings about his team taking Indian River lightly, they've certainly been dismissed at this point. That was a wake-up call for the other sideline as the Glasgow kids sort of looked a little shell-shocked there. They did recover on the 2-point conversion and dominated the line of scrimmage, which they really did for each of the plays.
Yeah.
But with Snead being able to get outside and hit Custis, just an electric start for Indian River.
Indian River picked up yardage on their first play, lost yardage on the second play, and then had a nice roll out to the left, had to throw across his body. So a pistol wing tee, and the handoff is up the middle. That's Tavion Jones-Hill, gets around the left side before finally being pushed out of bounds by Jaquan Floyd just over into Indian River territory. They're going to mark it at the 48-yard line.
That's one of the things that Glasgow does so well. Tavion Jones-Hill taking that little misdirection handoff to the left side of the field. Great push by the Glasgow offensive line, and already Indian River on their heels defensively a bit.
Alrighty, Reginald Grinnell is a first-team All-State defensive back. He did play some quarterback last year. When Isaiah Wilson missed a game or two with some injuries, he lines up in, like I said, they call it a pistol wing tee. Behind him now is Nyseem Butts. Tavion Jones-Hill is out. Man in motion goes right to left. He gives to Butts up the middle, and Butts gets across the 40 to the 37-yard line before he is tackled by Cortez Dahl, the big 6'3", 235-pound senior.
Nyseem Butts is a big load to bring down. We saw him do some damage in the scrimmage against Middletown. He's a kid who can really hit the hole hard. He's short enough. He kind of falls in behind that offensive line. They open a hole. He hits it, and before you know it, he's got a first down.
Michael Jones has checked in. Butts has checked out. Jones-Hill is back in. So, when you've got this kind of talent and this many guys that can go in and out, you're not going to get tired, that's for sure, as Martise Younger goes in motion and the ball is given to him, and he gets piled up at the 35-yard line after a pickup of about 3. We saw them do that type of formation several times in the scrimmage.
A little bit of a misdirection, sort of jet sweep there that Glasgow likes to run. That one was a little bit longer in developing than we've seen on tape. Indian River able to sniff that out and stop it for a short gain.
Reginald Grinnell is going back and forth to the sideline, getting the plays and bringing them back in. First-year coach Michael Richardson. I'm not sure if he's the one calling the plays or has an offensive coordinator do it. He's a defensive guy, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's got an offensive coordinator calling those plays in. So one wide receiver out to the left, that's Michael Jones. One in the slot to the right. And in the pistol formation, One guy behind him. Keyshawn Jones goes in motion. It's a little flip in the backfield to him. Keyshawn goes around the left side to the 35-30, and he runs into a wall and is brought down by Kevin Custis, who has the first 6 points for Indian River. A nice defensive play there by the safety.
You know, I've been really impressed so far by the lateral speed of this Indian River defense. They get overwhelmed at the line of scrimmage, and I'm kind of surprised Glasgow hasn't attacked that soft spot more so far, because when they try to go outside, although they have good speed, these kids from Indian River are small enough and quick enough to get out there and cut off the edge.
8:45 to play here in the first quarter of this DFRC Kickoff Classic. Indian River struck first 6-0 on a long pass play from Sneed to Custis. Glasgow moving the ball right to left as we see it. They're on the left hash mark on Indian River's 33-yard line. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. And this time the give is going to go to Joe Turner. And Joe Turner breaks up the middle and gets to the 24-yard line. Going to pick up a first down. I watched the first 3 series of Glasgow on offense against Middletown, and Joe Turner touched the ball 95% of the time.
Yeah,
first touch he's had tonight.
You and I knew that Joe Turner was going to be a big focal point of the offense tonight. He really hits the hole quick. He stays low to the ground. He's able to cut laterally very quickly. He could give a lot of trouble to this Indian River defense. And again, there we finally see them attacking the middle of that defense a bit more.
And so the play comes back in. Also running in is Tracy Ford, a last-minute substitution as Devin Johnson heads to the sideline. Joe Turner is lined up behind Reginald Grinnell. The slots are full. Man goes in motion. The give is up the middle to Joe Turner behind the man in motion, and he's going to pick up several yards to about the 16-yard line is where they're going to mark it. Going to bring up a second, and looks like about 2 yards to go.
Glasgow offensive line getting some really good push there. And again, something we've seen on tape from him is Joe Turner, pulling defenders with him. He got an extra 2-3 yards out of that as he dragged 2 or 3 Indian River defenders with him.
And that's going to bring up a 2nd and 2, 7 minutes, 18 seconds to play. Glasgow trails 6-0, but going to try to punch it in here as they're inside the red zone, moving right to left, going into the wind, actually, as we see it. Joe Turner lined up behind Reginald Grinnell. Grinnell steps back, fires into the end zone, has his man, touchdown. Keyshawn Jones hauls it in for the 16-yard touchdown, and Glasgow strikes right back.
A perfectly on-point pass right there from Reginald Grinnell. As you said, he filled in a bit at quarterback last year. He wasn't asked to throw the ball very much at all. Perfect on-the-mark pass there. He got behind the defensive back, which was Rashawn Turner for Indian River. Perfectly placed ball, allowed the receiver to catch it, fall backwards, tie ball game.
And so we'll see if Glasgow tries to punch it in for 2 or for 1. It looks like they're going to try to punch it in for 2 here. Now that it is tied up 6-6, Reginald Grinnell is going to be in the pistol formation. Lined up behind him is going to be Nyseem Butts, who's got 1 carry on the night. Slots are full. Man out to the left is Mike Johnson, and throw is in the middle, and it's good. Almost broken up, but Keyshawn Jones went up and got it. So the 2-point conversion is good up the middle, and Glasgow takes an 8-6 lead with 6:54 to play here in the DFRC Kickoff Classic. You're listening to it on Fox Sports 1290 and watching it live on 302 Sports.
Blue Hens Weekly, presented by Domino's, is the place for all things Delaware football. Join me, Benny Pinella, and the voice of the Blue Hens, Scott Klanskin, every Friday at 5:30 as we break down UD's performance, interview Hens players, and get you ready for Delaware's next matchup. It's all on Fox Sports 1290, foxsports1290am.com.
Keyshawn Jones on the touchdown, right?
Blue Hens Weekly, every Friday from 5:30 to 6:30, presented by Domino's, only on Fox Sports 1290.
High school football on Fox Sports 1290, foxsports1290am.com, and iHeartRadio Fox Sports 1290.
2 series, 2 scores. It's 8-6, Glasgow over Indian River. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. This is the DFRC Kickoff Classic. And Keyshawn Jones hauled in a 16-yard touchdown pass from Reginald Grinnell, and then caught a 2-yard one right after that for the 2-point conversion to put the Dragons up 8-6 with 6:54 to play here in the second quarter. Glasgow getting ready to kick off right to left as we see it. Yasir Hatcher will boot it away. This one gets a little bit further down than the first one did, and Custis, who's got the other points for Indian River, gets it, sprints up the middle, hurdles one player, dodges past another one before he's finally brought down there by Yasir Hatcher, the kicker. They're going to mark it at the 40-yard line, so good starting field position for Indian River.
I'll tell you what, Kevin Custis at 5'7", 145 pounds, a sophomore, has looked electric when he touches the ball. You just get the feeling when he gets it and takes off. He's got a great first step. He hurdled a Glasgow defender there to get them out to about the 40-yard line. So great early showing for Kevin Custis and IR so far.
So Jalen Sneed, who matched his touchdown totals of last year on the first series. He didn't play a whole lot last year, but he did have one touchdown. He's got one already this year. He rolls out to the right. He's looking deep for his man. He's looking for Jacob Anderson. Anderson goes up and pulls it down over Grinnell and sprints into the end zone for a 60-yard touchdown. How about that? You throw it high and you beat a first-team All-State defender. A great throw and catch from Snell to Anderson.
I'll tell you what, that was a shocking play there. Anderson had a beat on it the whole way. As you said, it really was thrown up for grabs by Sneed. Grinnell, John, just never seemed to get a feel for where that ball was. He didn't pick it up until the very last minute. By then it was too late. He got turned around, so he wasn't able to recover and make the tackle. But, wow, what a start for IR tonight.
And I don't know if the wind affected Grinnell's defense of that. There is a strong 10-mile-an-hour wind that Indian River has at its back. The sun wouldn't have been an issue because it's setting in the west, which is would have been off to Grinnell's side. So the extra point kick is up, and it is good by Alberto Alamilo. So with 6:34 to play, just like that, Indian River has come back and leads Glasgow 13-8. You're listening to the Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290.
American Spirit Federal Credit Union brings you Kasasa. What's Kasasa? It's a catchy word for earning cash that just might make you want to dance.
And that was Hatcher on the catch. Yasir Hatcher.
No, it was Anderson.
Get paid.
Anderson.
Jacob Anderson.
Simple things you do anyway.
Oh, God, I'm looking at the wrong
That's free
thing.
Kasasa checking. Ask for Kasasa by name at American Spirit Federal Credit Union. Welcome back to the Delaware High School Football Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290.
We might get to 100 points tonight, Marty, the way
Wow.
this is going. 3 series, 3 touchdowns, and we're not even halfway through the first quarter yet. It is 13-8. Indian River with a lead over Glasgow as Alberto Alamelo gets set to kick off left to right with the wind at his back. And Glasgow's got 3 guys back deep to get it. Keyshawn Jones, who has the touchdown for Glasgow, gets it at his own 10. He sprints up the middle, dodges one tackler. Looks like a face mask there. I don't see any flag, and they're going to end up calling him down at the 34-yard line. So Glasgow will take over there.
You know, this is amazing. We have 2 teams tonight, IR and Glasgow, who are known almost exclusively for running the football. And we've got 3 passing touchdowns on the first 3 drives of the game, including 2 long ones from Indian River. And, you know, it's funny, before the game, I remember telling you Glasgow, the one spot when they played Middletown in that scrimmage, they were burnt pretty consistently by Drew Fries, just not something their defense faces a lot from teams in Flight A. So it's going to be, or Flight B, excuse me. So it's going to be interesting to see how they adjust to this. Again, that last one was more kind of a thrown up for grabs, and Anderson did a great job of focusing on the ball. But ball's been in the air a lot more than we thought it was going to be tonight.
Keyshawn Jones shaken up on the kickoff return, and so he's headed to the sideline off on his own power. But because they did stop the play for him, he has to head out. Glasgow's going to start on the 33-yard line for the second series in a row. Worked out all okay for him the first time. Man goes in motion left to right, and the give is to Butts up the middle. Butts is keeping those feet moving, and before he gets taken down by about 4 guys, one of those main guys was Jediah Morris of Indian River, but not before a pickup of about 3. Going to take it up to the 36-yard line.
Some tough running there from Nice Team Butts. He looked like he had a little bit of hole off of the left guard, but he chose to take it off the tackle instead. May have cost himself a few yards inside, but again, real tough running. These Glasgow runners, they change them in and out of the game so often. As you said, they stay fresh. Glasgow's known for these long, methodical drives. So interesting to see if they try to slow things down and pound it out for a while.
Hatcher and Younger are in the slots. Nyseem Butts is lined up behind Grinnell in this pistol formation. Yasir goes in motion, and the give is to Younger, and he scoots around the right side, and he's going to pick up. Looks like he's going to be right at the first down marker. We'll see if they give him. The referee is signaling. He got to the 43. He's going to be a first down for Glasgow.
And I think we have a personal foul after the play, though I'm not sure who it's on. But, yeah, a little end around to the wide receiver, Younger. It's another play we've seen them run multiple times in scrimmages. The personal foul is actually going to go against Glasgow. Just what the doctor didn't order for Michael Richardson and his group right now. A little frustration at this start starting to come out for Glasgow. The team letting the offending player have it a bit, is they certainly don't want to be going in the wrong direction, not with giving up 2 early touchdowns to a heavy underdog IR team.
And third-year coach Phil Townsend from the Indian River sideline gave the old signal pointing to his head to his team to think
keep it
before
smart.
you react. And so a nice job by them for not counter-reacting. The penalty's going to push Glasgow back to the 28-yard line, so they not only lost all the yardage they gained on that play, but they're 5 yards behind where the original line of scrimmage was at the 33. So it's going to bring up a 1st and 10, and the ball is marked at the 28-yard line. Butts remains in the game. So I'm not sure if Keyshawn Jones is more injured than he looked, because he normally would be in the game by this time. And a snap fumble there as the man went in motion. Grinnell gets it, but he's going to be buried about 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So things not going well for Glasgow.
No, they had a player in motion across the formation. There was some missed time from the center and the quarterback. The ball was snapped. It hit the motion man. So, a little miscommunication for Glasgow. And we see already a little bit of nerves coming out with Glasgow. They did not – I'm sure they never expected to trail in this game. They certainly didn't expect to have given up 2 touchdowns this early in the contest.
Yeah, Indian River, a very young team, especially in the skills position. As I mentioned, their quarterback – Sneed only threw about 38 passes last year. Their wide receivers had no stats, and they lost their big running back who rushed for more than 1,200 yards last year. So a young group. Another snap fumble that time right through the hands of Grinnell, and so that screws up the handoff in the backfield. They finally get it up to Davian Jones-Hill, but he is brought down again. Another loss for Glasgow, and so that is going to bring up a 3rd down, and the scoreboard says 16 to go for the Dragons, so they're just going backwards right now.
Yeah, and that snap was perfect. It was right at Grinnell's face mask. He just took his eye off the ball, apparently right through his hands, hit him in the face mask. So, again, I love this timeout being taken by Michael Richardson. He's got to settle these kids down a little bit.
Yeah, it's, it's always say that you have first game jitters and that type of thing, but, these teams have scrimmage.
Yes.
Grinnell is an experienced quarterback. You have to wonder, Marty, if he's still thinking about getting beat on that touchdown, if that's still in the back of his mind, and he carried that under the offensive side of the field.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was just getting ready to say that's one of those things where it may be difficult for a guy who's known for being a defensive back. If he happens to give up a big play as he did here, you wonder if it's going to carry over to his play as a quarterback. And, of course, we can't say it for sure, but we've seen 2 consecutive plays in a row where there's been some miscommunication on the snap. So good timeout from Coach Richardson. Try to settle his quarterback down, let the troops know that, hey, there's still a ton of game here to go. We're a good team. We're the defending champs of the conference. So settle down and let's go to work.
3rd and 18 balls between the 20 and the 21-yard line. Both slots are filled. Wide receiver out to each side. Davion Jones-Hill is lined up behind Grinnell. The snap is good. He drops back. He's looking over the middle into the sun and going up and pulling it out of the air is Kevin Custis. And so this man has done it all. IR's got the ball back at their own 45-yard line.
The athleticism of Kevin Custis is just off the charts. I mean, we've seen him do it in the return game. We saw him do it on a catch and run for a touchdown. Now we see him perfectly timed. I actually thought there was a chance for him to run into the receiver. He managed to avoid that, go up, get the ball at the highest point, and maintain it as he tumbled to the ground. So sophomore Kevin Custis, all 5'7", 145 pounds, of him off to a great start.
So Indian River has got all the momentum in their direction, heading left to right, and the give is up the middle to Anderson, and he's going to pick up about 3 yards before going down in a heap almost at midfield. They're going to mark it at the 48-yard line.
Now this is where it's going to be interesting to see how IR approaches this. We've said we don't think they're going to be able to run the ball too consistently against this Glasgow defensive line. But now you have to wonder with what they've shown in the pass game if they've softened up that Glasgow defense a bit to open up some holes in the middle.
Ended up marking the interception at the 45, so with the 3-yard gain, it's at the 48. Another give to Anderson up the middle, and he's going to be dragged down behind the line of scrimmage by 2 big Glasgow guys. One of them, Jeremiah Carter, big offensive lineman. He's a senior.
Jeremiah Carter busted right through that IR defensive line. Again, just eyeballing it. We don't have heights and weights on the Glasgow kids, but you can see they're bigger than the IR offensive line. we expected to see more of that where they overwhelmed them at the line of scrimmage. So now here we go. We're in a passing down, and again, you have to wonder mentally wise, how this defensive backfield for Glasgow is going to respond.
3rd and 9 after the 2-yard loss. Ball's on the 46-yard line. Indian River does have the wind at its back. Snead drops back. He rolls out to his right. He's being chased out of bounds, and that's where he's going to end up, shy of the first down, I believe. Ridden out of bounds there by Tymir Wilson, the senior from Glasgow.
That was a great job by the Glasgow defensive secondary. There were 2 defensive backs on each of the 2 IR receivers that were out in the formation. They were bracketed on both sides. So they're already, they see that this rollout from Indian River is coming. They're going to try to shut it down.
And they're going to go for it. 4th and 1 at the Glasgow 46-yard line. Snead is in the shotgun. I like this call, Marty. He's going to hand it off to Custis. Who else? And Custis barrels forward, all 5'7" of them, and picks up the necessary yardage. First down, Indian River.
I'm starting to wonder why they're giving the ball to anyone else. I mean, right there, Glasgow had him stopped for a 2 or 3 yard loss on 4th and 1. He does a lightning quick sidestep, and he's going for 2-3 yards down the field for the first down. So Custis again, I mean, this kid is making a name for himself tonight. He's having a heck of a game.
Indian River with a 13-8 lead, 2 minutes to play here in the first quarter, trying to make it 3 out of 3 on possessions, getting into the end zone, and it's a flip this time to Anderson. He gets dragged down behind the line of scrimmage. First contact was made by Darren Bacon, and Tymir Wilson came in and cleaned it up. So a loss there, going to move it back to midfield.
That was a really, really slow developing pitch play from Snead to Anderson. You're just not going to be able to take that much time against this Glasgow defense. They were in the backfield at the same time Anderson finally took that pitch. They're going to have to speed that up.
2nd down, and it looks like about 17 to go according to the scoreboard. Looks the same on the field. 2 wide receivers out to the right, 1 to the left. Snap goes back to Snead. He gets chased out of the pocket, looking downfield, and he's just going to tuck it, and he gets taken down. A big hit there by Glasgow. That was Michael Jones, one of the guys in on the tackle there, along with Tymir Sewell, and so he did not get back to the original line of scrimmage. Going to bring up a 4th down.
And we talked about with Jalen Snead, he's a very small kid, a sophomore, 5'9", 140 pounds. He's got to make sure he gets out of bounds on that play. He cannot take repeated hits like that. But again, credit to the Glasgow defensive backfield. They, again, did a good job of bracketing the wide receivers that were out in the formation.
And I correct myself, it is a 3rd down and 13 to go on the Glasgow 46-yard line. The ball's on the right hash mark. And that's Anderson in the backfield. The fake goes to him. Snead drops back, fakes a pass, and instead gets chased out. He goes up the middle and slides, gets back to the original line of scrimmage, so it's going to bring up a 4th and 10. Interesting call here. Looks like the punting team's coming on. I like that call at this point in the game as the first quarter's winding down. Now, they got to try to get the punt off when the wind still's at their back. 22 seconds left to play.
I agree. I think they should be hurrying up to try to get this off as quickly as possible. Make sure they pin Glasgow deep before this quarter winds down.
And back for Glasgow is Martise Younger. Interesting that Keyshawn Jones is not back. Haven't seen him back on the field, I don't believe, since that injury. And a bounce hike goes back to Indian River, and Glasgow is just going to let it roll. The punt was by Adam Bordeaux, and they're going to mark it at the 22-yard line as time runs out on the first quarter. We got a good one here. It's 13-8. Indian River leads Glasgow. This is the game of the week on Fox Sports 1290 and 302 Sports.
It's hard to miss all the TV lawyer ads. Catchy slogans surround promises of maximum recovery and fighting for your rights. Hi, this is Melissa Rufo of Rufo Associates. We have decades of experience successfully handling injury claims. Our track record with auto accidents, slip and falls, and defective products cases is second to none. We let our results be our slogan. Nobody wants to need a lawyer, but if the need arises, don't take any chances. Get a strong advocate on your side. You need Rufo Associates. Visit rufolaw.com. That's RUFO law.com.
High school football on Fox Sports 1290, foxsports1290am.com, and iHeartRadio Fox Sports 1290.
John Busby along with Marty Sheehan at Caravel Academy Stadium, Bob Peoples Stadium, I should say, on the Caravel Academy campus. Indian River leads Glasgow 13-8 after one quarter. in the books. Don't forget to tune in to the Blue Hens Football Coaches Show every Wednesday at 7 o'clock on 94.7 WDSD, our sister station, as the voice of the Blue Hens. Scott Klatskin talks UD football with head coach Danny Rocco at Klondike Kates on Main Street in Newark. Speaking of the Blue Hens, they're going to take on Virginia Tech on Saturday at 3:30. Virginia Tech coming off that big last-minute win over West Virginia University on Sunday night. You can hear all the action starting with the Blue Hens game day at 2:30. Scott Klatskin and Matt Janis bring you all the action on our sister station, 94.7 WDSD. Marty, we weren't sure what we were going to get in this first game, and what we got was a lot of scoring on the first three series, and then an interception on Glasgow's second possession, and Indian River having to punt now. We'll see if Glasgow is able to counter and punch it in here after for having that interception on their last series.
I give a ton of credit to Indian River coach Philip Townsend. They don't have a big team. They're not very deep, but he's making great use of what he has. He's rolling out his quarterback Sneed so that he's not in the pocket, taking big hits back there. They're getting the receivers running across the formation, doing a real nice job keeping Glasgow off balance.
Martice Younger's in one slot, and it looks like Yasir Hatcher, the kicker, is actually being bumped over now. On the far right side is Devin Johnson. Tavian Jones Hill is lined up behind Grinnell, and he's going to get the ball. He scampers up the middle. I think he gets forced outside, makes a couple nice moves, still on his feet at the 25 to the 30 before finally being tripped up and out of bounds. That's Kevin Custis, the man that's done everything, but not until he picked up a first down.
No, Tavion Jones-Hill, we saw him do that a lot last year. He made a sort of living on the field by weaving his way in and out of traffic. He's got a very quick lateral first step. He's low to the ground, again, not one of those real big kids, so he's able to slip out of those high tackles, make his way around the right side of the formation there and come close to a first down.
So a good start second quarter for Glasgow with the first down and 10. They've got it marked on the 33-yard line. Reginald Grinnell, the senior quarterback, is lined up in the pistol formation. He's got two wide receivers to the right. One goes in motion, and the give is going to be up the middle. That's Butts again. He knocks over one Indian River defender and works his way up to the 40-yard line before he's brought down. So a nice pickup, going to be about 2 yards shy of the first down.
Wow, Brandon Cheedy, the defensive back for Indian River, just met Nassim Butts there and was run over at the point of contact. You see there a huge hole was opened up by the Glasgow offensive line. It's starting to look like maybe these kids have taken this start a little personally, John, taking it to heart and started to kind of settle down and get to work.
At one point, note, Keyshawn Jones is still not back in the game. He got hurt returning the punt, or actually I think it wasn't a punt, it was a kickoff, and has not been back in the game since. Now, they've got plenty of skills players, this Glasgow Dragon team, so you're still going to miss one of your better ones, but they've got plenty of guys who can come in and play the position. And that is Younger that goes in motion to give us the Butts up through the left tackle. He crosses the 50 to the 45 to the 40, still on his feet, and finally dragged down from behind by Rashawn Turner from Indian River, but a big pickup by Butts there, going to take it to the 37-yard line of Indian River.
And Jeremiah Carter on the left side of that line just helping to open up a huge hole. They're starting to gash that IR defensive front now. Butts gets out for the run, and again, you see at the end of that run the strength of Nassim Butts carrying an IR defender for another couple yards.
And so it's going to bring up first and 10, 13-8 lead for Indian River. Glasgow knocking at the door here. They got a nice drive put together. They're on the 37-yard line of Indian River as Younger goes in motion, and the give is up the middle, and it's going to be a pickup of about 4. That's Joe Turner, who's gotten the ball only a couple times tonight, Marty. Kind of surprised me as many times as he touched it in the scrimmage against Middletown.
I agree, and he was the lone guy who really had a great deal of effectiveness against Middletown. We thought we'd see him get the ball a lot more tonight. You saw the strength there. He was stomped at the point of contact, ended up getting pushed for another 3 or 4 yards. But this is where Glasgow made their hay last year, these long, methodical drives starting to wear down the opposition.
2nd and 6. Hatcher's in the right slot. Martice Younger is in the left slot, and that is Joe Turner in the backfield behind Grinnell. And Martice Younger goes in motion, and he gets the handoff sprinting up the middle, and looks like he's going to be probably about a half-yard shy of the first down. No, they're signaling first down up to about the 27-yard line, so a nice run there by the senior.
Little pirouette there by Grinnell as he did a 360 in the backfield before they handed off in that little misdirection. everything they're touching now in the running game, and you really like to see this if you're Coach Richardson, is starting to work. They're starting to do some damage at the point of contact.
Joe Turner again lined up behind Grinnell. This is more of a simple wing tee. There's not the intricacy that Tubby Raymond used to do, but there is a little bit of misception. And speaking of that, the fumble by Turner, and it looks like Indian River has it. Jaquan Floyd falls on it, so another turnover by Glasgow, and Indian River is going to take over.
Turner looked like he never truly got the handle on that ball. An excellent drive. He had wide open spaces, and maybe that was part of the problem. There was another big hole in the middle of that IR line, but Turner just never seemed to get a good handle on that ball, kind of kicked it forward, fought for it, but lost out to Indian River. So a big turn of events there for Indian River as Glasgow had driven down to the 25-yard line.
And so that is exactly where Indian River is going to take over, 1st and 10 on the 25-yard line. Now going into the wind for the first time tonight, and the give is to up the middle to our man Custis. And I say our man because he's done it all. He got an interception, a touchdown, and picks up 2 yards on the run there.
That's the thing. He's not losing any yards on any of these plays. Even when it looks like he's going to be stacked up, they're managing to push forward just a little bit. And really, that's what they want to do. They'd love to kill as much of this clock as they could while still managing to move the ball a bit and work on this Glasgow defense.
Plus, they want to get home a little earlier. Another reason to keep this clock running. Sneed in the back, and line up to the left is Anderson. A fake to Anderson, and Sneed's going to roll out to the left. This was a run play from the start, and he gets knocked down and knocked out of bounds, but not before he picks up a first down. That was Reginald Grinnell who got the final hit on him that knocked him out at the 40-yard line, but it's going to be a first down for Indian River.
These IR kids are a lot tougher than their size would indicate. Again, Sneed taking a big hit over there, but he weaved his way in and out of some traffic. He got some, I wouldn't necessarily call it a great block on the outside, but he had one of his receivers running a little interference for him out there, enabled him to get the first down.
Sneed is in the backfield. Anderson's lined up to the left. Custis is out to the right slot to give us to Anderson up the middle, and he is hit immediately and taken down by Kyrie Solomon, the big junior lineman for Glasgow.
Anderson's the one guy that hasn't been able to really get anything going in the running game for IR. He is their biggest runner by far. That Glasgow defense is sort of focused on him when he's in the backfield, which has allowed some of the lesser-known players in that IR offense to shine.
These running backs for IR didn't touch the ball much last year, as George Martin racked up more than 1,100 yards and 15 touchdowns, and he graduated. So plenty of balls to go around this year. Sneed in the shotgun position. Custis moves over and lines up behind him. The handoff goes to him up the middle, and he's going to be about 3 yards shy of the first down, brought down at the 48-yard line.
Custis again, though, weaving his way through that traffic. He's one of the smaller kids on the field, but he's doing a really great job of keeping his feet, making sure he's got that motor still running. He's pushing forward. The Glasgow offensive line is trying as best they can to hold their blocks. They're really working on this Glasgow defense. It's just not something we really expected to see tonight.
3rd and 3 on the 48, moving right to left. They're on the left hash mark. 7:03 to play in the first half. 13-8 lead for Indian River. Custis, who else gets it? And he's going to be, well, he's getting a good spot on this side, but not on the other. They're going to meet halfway. The two officials look like they're going to mark it at the 50-yard line, which is going to be about a half a yard shy, and bring up a 4th down. Do you punt it here, Marty, into the wind? Or do you risk, and try to pin them back? Or do you risk going for it, knowing if you don't get it, you've given the team the ball at the 50-yard line?
It's tough. I think personally I'd punt because I don't want to give Glasgow any gleam of hope right here. They're going to go for it, and they've been successful. They have Custis in the backfield, so let's see what happens.
And the experience on this team is the offensive line, and Custis gets it, and he gets wrapped up, but I think he pushed forward far enough. If the mark in front of us is the one that they're going to use, then it will be a first down. A nice defensive stand there by Glasgow, but I don't think it's going to be enough, and it is a first down.
You know what? I agree, and I think Custis almost ran himself out of the first down there.
Yep.
If he kept on going forward, he had about 3-4 more yards. Instead, he tried to turn lateral. He was met by that Glasgow defense, and you're right. They just got that first down.
Yeah, if he goes down after his first surge forward, he gets it easily. But as soon as he turns and tries to pick up more yardage, you don't get that forward momentum. Snap is back to Sneed in the shotgun position. He's going deep for Custis, and it tipped away. A brilliant play there by Martise Younger. Saved a touchdown for Indian River.
Martise Younger, a great job there, keeping pace with the wide receiver. Sneed, again, John, if they're going the other way with that, with the wind, that's probably a touchdown.
Right.
The wide receiver did have the defensive back beat. The ball held up just slightly enough. Younger did a great job to contact the ball at its highest point of his jump, and a nice job there because that could have been disaster again for this Glasgow defense.
Indian River coming off a 2-8 season, hasn't been in the playoffs since 2013. I like how this team looks. Two sophomores leading it, as Sneed gets a bad snap, picks it up, trying to make something out of nothing, and that's not going to happen as Grinnell forces him out of bounds, and they're going to give him a loss of about 2 back to their own 49-yard line.
The first miscue we've seen on the snap game from IR tonight, that was snapped down around his left ankle or so. He had to reach far to his left to get it, and by the time he did, he was going that direction anyway, so he decided to take it and run. Wasn't able to get much, so break there for Glasgow.
No seniors in the skill possessions in the starting lineup. Sneed a sophomore, Custis a sophomore, Angelo Nicholas a sophomore at wide receiver, Anderson and Killen are juniors. The future's bright for this Indian River team. 3rd and 10, ball on the Glasgow 49-yard line. Indian River moving right to left. They're on the left hash mark. Man goes in motion. And Sneed rolls out to his right. He's being chased, forced out of the pocket, and gets rid of the ball before he's hammered down to the ground by Darren Bacon. A nice heady play there by the sophomore quarterback to get rid of that ball.
It really was, and that was a great job by Bacon. He overwhelmed his man at the line of scrimmage. Sneed rolled out to the right, but what happened was the Indian River offensive lineman actually ended up pushing Bacon right into the quarterback. So a great heads-up play by Sneed to get rid of that and avoid the big loss.
So it's going to bring up a 4th and 10. Easy decision here as Bordeaux is going to back up to about his own 37-yard line and punt it away. Martice Younger is standing at his own 23-yard line waiting for the punt, wants to give Glasgow some good position. 5:12 to play here. The punt is almost blocked by Grinnell, who went in unblocked, and it's going to be kicked out of bounds. They're going to mark it at the 43-yard line. So that could have been a disaster for Indian River as Grinnell got through the coverage, but instead Glasgow is going to take over at the 37-yard line is where they're going to mark it.
Yeah, they actually, that's a little more credit than I thought they were given that. I thought it was actually only about a 5 to 7-yard punt. But a great job by Glasgow. What they noticed was the last time IR punted, as you called, they bobbled the ball. They dribbled it twice back to the punter, but there was no Glasgow rush. This time, Grinnell came very close to coming up with the block.
And so it's going to be 1st and 10 at the 37-yard line. Indian River leads Glasgow 13-8. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan, Ronnie Vickers producing back in the Newcastle studio. 5:12 to play here in what's been a fast second quarter compared to what was a slower first quarter with the 3 touchdowns being scored. Grinnell at quarterback, he hands it into the backfield. That is Tavion Jones-Hill, and he is taken down after a pickup of maybe 1 if they're generous, maybe not even that.
Cortez Tall, a great job knifing through the line there for Indian River. One of their bigger defenders, a senior at 6'3", 235 pounds, shed his blocker, went right at the legs of the ball carrier to stop that one.
A big thanks to our partner NKN Films for their outstanding design on our new 2017 high school football schedule poster. It'll be out in the next couple of weeks. We'll be getting them out to the schools ahead of time. Also have some available at our games here. Visit nknfilms.com for all your video needs. 2nd and 10, so there was no yardage gain there. Ball on the 37-yard line for Glasgow, moving left to right. They're on the right hash mark. Tavion Jones-Hill is lined up behind Grinnell. Both slots are filled, and a wide receiver on each side. Yasir Hatcher looked a little confused, started to go in motion. Grinnell gets the snap and rolls around to the left and gets up to about the 43-yard line, going to bring up a 3rd and 4.
I think that was supposed to be, and you called it, I think that was supposed to be more of a read option that involved Yasir Hatcher, but he looked sort of confused as he came around behind the quarterback. So not really what Glasgow was looking for there. I think they had much bigger designs for that play, but in the end, Grinnell just kind of tried to eat it and got a couple yards.
A lot of the deception we saw in the scrimmage against Middletown involved Keyshawn Jones, who has not been in the game for this since about halfway through the first quarter. Not sure if he's injured. He's not sitting on the sideline, so not sure about that, but that certainly isn't helping this offense. The give is up the middle to Butts, who is back in the backfield. He skirts off 2 tackles around the right side before he's finally forced out of bounds. Brock Wingate in on the tackle there, along with Jaquan Floyd of Indian River, but a first down. A nice run there. Butts making something out of nothing.
That's a great job by Nicing Butts. You're exactly right. The Indian River defense was waiting for him coming around the right end. He just stiff-armed 2 of them, ran over a 3rd, managed to pick up the first downs. That's something we saw him do on film. He's a kid that's not very tall. He's got a low center of gravity, a thick trunk, and he puts it to good use as there he ran through 3 Indian River defenders.
Special Olympics Delaware is always looking for qualified coaches. If you're experienced in basketball or bowling at this point in time, visit SODE.org. First and 10, ball in the Indian River 47. Glasgow putting together a nice drive here. Butts gets the ball again up the middle and picks up about half of what he needs up to the 42-yard line. Going to bring up a 2nd and 5.
Glasgow looks like they finally decided on a strategy to attack the middle of the Indian River defense. As we said, they're outsized in there. And with guys like Nyseem Butts, who can really drag defenders with him wherever he goes, you've got some runners and some skill players on this team that can get you 3, 4, 5 yards at a clip. And Glasgow picking up where they left off on that drive before the fumble by Turner last time.
And so it is 2nd and 5 with the ball marked on the Indian River 42-yard line. Tavian Jones-Hill is lined up behind Grinnell. Gossier Hatcher goes in motion. The flip this time is to Tavion Jones-Hill, and he's going to get around the left side and not quite pick up a first down before he's brought down by Brandon Cheaty. We're going to bring up a 3rd and probably 2.
And we had a flag in there. I think they're going to get a hold on the edge on Glasgow. Some extracurricular blocking going on there as he held to get the extra yards. You know, John, it's interesting. I don't believe we've seen Turner on this drive since he fumbled on the last drive. I don't recall seeing him in the backfield on this drive.
No, it's been Butts and Tavion Jones-Hill that have been coming in and out for each other as they sort this penalty out. The thing that is the big decision here is that they didn't pick up many yardage, although Phil Townsend is now telling them to send them back.
Yes.
And so that's what they will do. It is a holding penalty. And so it's going to bring up, it's going to be a repeat. We'll see. I'm not going to say it until they sort it out here. They're still sorting it out on the other end, but it's going to be the 2nd penalty for Glasgow. The other was a personal foul. Now they're talking to Reginald Grinnell.
I'm confused. They asked Philip Townsend of IR for what he wanted to do, and then all of a sudden they kind of ignored it. Now they're talking to Glasgow, so we're not still 100% sure who this penalty is on.
Well, I was just going to say I'm surprised there's only been 2 penalties, no matter who this is against in the game. For a first game, that's not bad. Refs are adjusting as well, obviously. It looks like they're going to pick the ball up and not call a penalty. So, they are marching it off.
They did. Unfortunately, we were blocked by the Glasgow huddle, so I didn't see what the referee called on the play.
They only moved it 5 yards. So, we're not sure after all that.
They called an incidental face mask on the play there. So, at the end of the run. So, good pickup by Glasgow to keep this drive going. I'm sure Philip Townsend has as many questions as anybody because they seem to be looking to him at first. He told them to move back, and then all of a sudden we got a different call.
So either way, we're just under 2 minutes to play here. It's 13-8 to play in the first half, I should say. Indian River leading Glasgow 1st and 10 on the 33-yard line. Grinnell drops back to his left, and he's looking and trying to hit up the middle or down the sideline Martice Younger and goes sailing over his head. Going to bring up a 2nd down. And is there a flag on the play?
And we had a flag about 30 yards away from the play on the complete opposite side of the field. I will say, John, I don't like that call at all. You're running the ball down IR's throats 3, 4, 5 yards a clip. I don't know why you back up and throw that pass.
All right, we need to sneak a break in here. We're going to do that. It's 13-8 Indian River over Glasgow. Minute 41 to play in the first half on Fox Sports 1290 and 302 Sports.
Bet you didn't know this. Broadcast radio reaches more people in America than TV. Yeah, AM/FM radio.
Ronnie, go ahead and run the last break also right after this if you can. Just so we make sure.
83% of Americans every week. That's bigger than TV, Facebook, and Google. If you're a marketer who needs to reach new fans, visit iHeartMedia.com for the one place everyone is listening. AM/FM radio. Welcome back to the Delaware High School Football Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290.
John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. It's 13-8 Indian River over Glasgow. Under 2 to play, minute 41. Glasgow had an ineligible man downfield, so they marched that penalty off, and then they handed the ball off right there to Joe Turner. You just mentioned we hadn't seen him in a while. He picks up some of the yardage. Going to bring up a 2nd down, or actually is it going to be 3rd down? The marker says one, the scoreboard says another. And we'll see here. A timeout has been taken, I believe, by Glasgow. And so we're going to keep it right here. It is going to be 2nd down and 6 when they come out of the timeout. So Glasgow still has one timeout remaining, 1:29 to play. They trail Indian River 13-8. 8. Coming up on the IBEW Local 313 halftime report, our producer and studio host Ronnie Vickers will have football news and scores, along with a preview of the weekend's matchups ahead. Plus, we'll be back with a review of the first 24 minutes of action. It's all coming up at the half. So these teams scored right off the bat. A 55-yard touchdown pass from Sneed to Custis put Indian River up 6-0. Just about a minute and a half into the game, Glasgow fired right back on a 16-yard touchdown pass from Grinnell to Keyshawn Jones, and a 2-point conversion also to Jones put them up 8-6 with 6:54 to play, and about 5 seconds later, there was a 60-yard touchdown pass from Snell to Anderson, and the extra point by Alamillo made it 13-8 with 6:34 to play, and that was still in the first quarter, and we've had no scoring since.
No, we had a really good drive by Glasgow that was undone by a Turner fumble as they were driving the ball deep into IR territory.
2nd and 6. Grinnell gets the snap, and it's a little flip into the back to Martish Younger. He tries to tiptoe around the corner, gets the edge, and then gets thrown out of bounds by Samuel Miltner of Indian River. And we'll see the spot. The first yard marker got thrown out of the way as the ball carrier, Younger, came right at him. No signal yet. 3rd down is the signal, so I'm going to bring up a 3rd and 1.
Now, slow developing play there again for Glasgow, but this is why they need to keep the ball on the ground. Even when they don't get a clean look at the after the snap, they don't get the play running as quickly as they wanted. They're still able to use their bigger offensive line to hold their blocks against this IR defense and still allow their ball carriers to pick their holes.
Butts is back in the game, lined up behind Grinnell, who is in the shotgun position, more of a pistol position, I should say. Man goes in motion right to left to give us the Butts. He tiptoes around the corner, makes one move across the 20, has the first down, and he gets spun out of bounds by Indian River. Let's go looking for a late hit there, but Kevin Custis pulled up just in time, I think.
You know, you're starting to see from the Indian River defensive backs, I don't think they want to get in front of Nyseem Butts. They've seen some of the damage he's done. He's run over some guys straight ahead. He's stiff-armed some others. They seem to be sidestepping him, trying to take him down low. But a really good job by Nyseem Butts. He's finding the different holes on both sides of the field, and he's exploiting that. And a great job by this Glasgow offensive line. They've been nimble enough to get out, hold their blocks, and give these guys an opportunity to pick up first downs.
And so it's going to be 1st and 10. The ball is on the 12-yard line. Glasgow trying to take a lead in the locker room here. 1:14 to play as the Shadows have taken over the field. And the give is up the middle, a pickup of about 4 yards by Tavion Jones-Hill. Him and Butts have been replacing each other in the lineup. That's a pretty good 1-2 combo.
It really is, and as you said earlier, it allows them to stay fresh. So this IR defense is having to deal with a fresh runner every 2 or 3 plays. That time you're just seeing nothing but just helmet-on-helmet football at the line of scrimmage. Glasgow is starting to win almost every one of those battles, and they're able to get 2, 3, 4, 5 yards at a clip. And looks like we have an Indian River player down on the field.
Yeah, it's Jediah Morris shaken up, and they're tending to him. That's kind of a lucky break. You hate to use that term anytime anybody's injured, but Glasgow, with only one timeout left, is basically getting a free timeout here with 1:01 to play. They trail 13-8. This is the DFRC Kickoff Classic. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan, Ronnie Vickers back in the studio. The 8th annual Kickoff Classic. This game, of course, was created to extend the opportunity to create awareness of what DFRC does, and more importantly, as they would tell you, the people they serve, those with intellectual disabilities. They raise millions of dollars every year and distribute that money across the state to organizations who provide opportunities for people with intellectual disabilities. You might be wondering why we're playing this game between Glasgow and Indian River at Caravel Academy, and the reason very simply is they're redoing the press box at Glasgow High School, and it wasn't done when they expected, and so they are here instead playing this game a short distance. A nice turnout here by both fans. Actually, I'm impressed and surprised how many Indian River fans came up. Granted, a lot of parents, but still quite a haul on a work night and a school night. All right. The man is up and off the field on his own power. That was Jediah Morris, and he's being looked at by someone down on the sideline, but he was up and off on his own power. 2nd and 6, ball on the 8-yard line, and Younger goes in motion, and the Grinnell rolls out to the left. It looked almost like a broken play, and they're going to lose a couple yards there. It's going to be on the 9-yard line. That was actually Hatcher in motion. And, you know, Hatcher has had a couple instances where he hasn't quite looked. And, again, we'll explain that what we saw on film is Keyshawn Jones was the man playing that position.
Man. Yeah, he was the man running the fake jet sweeps, the actual jet sweeps. He was running the misdirection behind the quarterback, cutting across the formation. So Hatcher's had to fill in, and he's had a couple miscues.
3rd and 7 on the 9 on the left hash mark. Grinnell gets forced out of the pocket. A nice block in the backfield there to protect him. Fakes in the middle, throws it up for grabs, and over the head of Yashir Hatcher. Not much he could do. Grinnell did the smart thing there, making sure he threw it where only his man was going to come down with it.
He did, and he got a great block by Darren Bacon in the backfield there to give Grinnell a little bit more time to make that throw. So, yeah, give them another opportunity with 2 seconds left here on the clock.
So, barring a defensive penalty, this will be the last play of what started out as a shootout. Offensively, we didn't expect to see much passing.
No.
All 3 touchdowns scored on passes, 2 by Indian River, 1 by Glasgow. Indian River with a 13-8 lead. It's 4th down, 7 to go. That's really irrelevant. They're going to have to punch it in here. The ball's going to be marked at the 9-yard line. Glasgow moving left to right. The wind seems to have died down. What was about 13-mile-an-hour wind when they kicked off has died down almost completely. I know that because our papers aren't flying everywhere.
That's right.
Like they were at the beginning of the broadcast. So last play of the first half, barring a defensive penalty, Grinnell is in, and he is lined up in the pistol position. Butts is behind him, and both slots are filled. Wide receivers out to each side. A low snap. Grinnell comes up with it. He rolls out. He's being chased. He knows he's got to get to the end zone, and he stretches over, and good. So a nice heady play by the senior. If he doesn't stretch that ball, it's not a touchdown, but it is, and that's going to give Glasgow a 14-13 lead. I think we're going to get an excessive celebration penalty, which is a shame. It won't, take the touchdown away, but it is going to, if they use that for the extra point, Glasgow typically tries to run in the extra point. That could cost them significant yardage. We'll see about the call here. So a heady play by the senior, but then not a heady celebration when it was all over.
No, we've seen 2 dumb plays by Glasgow, a personal foul that really hurt them earlier, and an excessive celebration penalty here on the touchdown, which really took away from it. It was a great play by Grinnell. I'll be honest, he just totally flat out beat the entire Indian River defense to the pylon on the left side of the field, and a really nice job. They ran a little misdirection handoff there, and looks like it is going to be assessed on the extra point. And that could be big.
Yeah.
With a score the way we have it, that could end up playing a big key at the end of this game.
And that score is just a 1-point lead by Glasgow here as the half. There's all zeros on the clock, and, of course, they have to play the extra point here. Will be a 2-point conversion for Glasgow, but instead of it being a 2-yard jaunt, or a 3-yard jaunt, I should say, I think, into the end zone, it's going to be going to have to be about a 18-yard jaunt, so a 15-yard penalty here. Grinnell is in the shotgun position. Butts lined up behind him. Devin Johnson, who hasn't caught a ball yet, way out onto the right. Michael Jones out onto the left. The slot position is full. Man goes in motion. The give is to Butts up the middle, and Butts gets punched back outside and is going to get run out of bounds. So the 2-point conversion is going to be no good, and that is going to bring us to the end of the first half here at the DFRC Kickoff Classic at Caravel Academy. And your score, Glasgow High 14, Indian River 13. When we come back, it'll be to the studio for the IBEW Local 313.
Life's too short to hate your home. Remodel your home with the pros voted Delaware's #1 home improvement company. Ferris Home Improvements has something for every homeowner at their new showroom on the corner of Kirkwood Highway and Harmony Road in Newark, Delaware. Explore products and layouts with the area's top designers. Touch and feel products that inspire your dream space. Ferris Home Improvements' pride in the details make them the area's best in roofing, windows and doors, siding, decks, kitchens, and bathrooms. Want a professional, no-pressure remodel? Go see the best at the Big Shamrock on Kirkwood Highway. Ferris Home Improvements. Quality workmanship from a neighbor you can trust.
The Hadley Group is your local real estate resource. Brian Hadley joined Patterson Schwartz & Associates in 2005. In 2013, Nicole Flora joined Brian, followed by Emma Burnett and Grant Jepp in 2014. That's when the Hadley Group was formed. Patterson Schwartz Associates offer you exceptional knowledge of local market conditions and a commitment to represent you honestly and professionally. So for your next purchase or sale, think the Hadley Group, Visit our website at thehadleyGroupRE.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Kammerer from Solo Concepts. Solo Concepts is an award-winning restaurant group on the culinary coast with 10 locations. We're a chef-driven group. Come check us out. See you soon. Solo Concepts believes in the vision of our founder, Matt Haley: cook beautiful, simple food, develop the people we work with, and make the world a better place. Solo Concepts on the culinary coast with 10 locations from Lois, Delaware to Fenwick Island. Come check us out.
Mr. Italian began his career in home finance in 2002 as a mortgage consultant. Since 2002, Brian has helped over 1,000 home buyers achieve their dreams of owning a home. Brian's knowledge of current market conditions and his detailed evaluation of buyers' finances ensures that each buyer will receive the best mortgage to fit their needs. Brian is often commended on how efficient and effortless he makes the mortgage process for everyone from first-time home buyers to investors to experienced buyers. For the loan that fits you, contact Brian today. Hooters of Newark is located at 136 Astro Shopping Center, Newark, Delaware. Come in day or night to watch your favorite teams and sports on our many TVs. It's a great, fun-filled environment that is kid-friendly. Our craveable food menu has all the appetizers, burgers, salads, tacos, seafood, you name it, as well as our world-famous Hooters wings, which are the official wings of 302sports.com. Remember, you can always order online to take home our world-famous wings. It's your couch, our wings. Unique Image opened for business in Wilmington, Delaware in 1979 with one focus: wowing our customers with great products and even greater customer service. 30 years later, we are still doing exactly that. Whether you're looking for marketing tools to promote your business, gifts for your employees or clients, or planning a special event, we're here with the voice of experience to help you every step of the way for your complete satisfaction. Visit our new showroom in the Mill Creek Shopping Center, 4577 Kirkwood Highway. Unique Image, you envision, we create.
Towson will take on Maryland beginning at 12 o'clock. 1 o'clock will begin Elon and Furman. Stony Brook plays Rhode Island at 1 o'clock. Another 1 o'clock game between Richmond and Colgate. And Albany takes on Morgan State when that begins at 1 o'clock as well. Okay. The University of Delaware Bruins take on 3:30, but of course, like every game this season, you can listen to the game with pregame show coverage beginning at 2:30 on our sister station 94.7 WDSD and WDSD.com. Bryant will play Maine at 3:30, and Villanova will take on Temple at 3:30 as well. At 4 o'clock, New Hampshire kicks off against Georgia Southern. 6 o'clock begins William and Mary and Norfolk State. And the last game scheduled for Saturday is another 6 o'clock game when East Tennessee State takes on James Madison. Well, that's going to do it from back in the studio with all of your updates in high school, college, and the NFL. When we come back, it'll be John and Marty with the beginning of the second half on Fox Sports 1290 and FoxSports1290AM.com.
This has been the High School Football Game of the Week Halftime Report, presented by the IBEW Local 313 and its local contractors. We'll be right back with this.
The place for all things Delaware football. Join me, Ben Canella, and the voice.
First quarter, Glasgow came right back down and drove it almost the length of the field and converted on a 16-yard touchdown pass from Reginald Grinnell to Keyshawn Jones. The two-point conversion was also a pass over the middle to Jones to put Glasgow up 8-6. And then about 20 seconds later, Sneed hit Logan Anderson on a 60-yard touchdown pass down the right side. Anderson got behind the All-State defensive back, Reginald Grinnell, to give his team a 13-8 lead. The extra point kick was good by Alamilo. A Ben Custis interception thwarted the next Glasgow drive, but Indian River was forced to punt. And then Joe Turner fumbled away Glasgow's next possession, recovered by Floyd. Indian River punted that away. And then Grinnell scampered around the left side on a 9-yard touchdown run as time ran off the clock to put Glasgow up 14-13. The two-point conversion ended up being a 18-point conversion after, I should say, a 3-point conversion, I think is what they do now, based on where it was down the side there. And so it became an 18-point conversion was no good, and the time ran out as the teams went to the locker room for halftime. Glasgow ahead 14-13. So, Marty, I think we're both impressed with Indian River, particularly with Kevin Custis. He's done big things on both sides of the ball.
He really has. Kevin Custis has been the guy who's kind of announced himself to the state tonight. Just a sophomore, 5'7", 145 pounds. Last year he carried 35 times for only 114 yards and 1 touchdown. So he certainly didn't show anything that would indicate that he was capable of what we've seen tonight. He's really been a game changer. He's done things on special teams. He's done things on offense. He's just been the one go-to guy that IR can rely upon to get some positive yardage. What we saw toward the end of the second quarter more is what we expected of Glasgow kind of dominating the line of scrimmage. They had 2 long drives. The one, as you said, was undone by the Turner fumble. The second one, they were able to punch it in. It's going to be interesting in the second half now to see now that Glasgow knows they can attack that middle of the IR defense successfully and they have the athletes to get outside. If they can sort of put these drives together more consistently, hang on to the ball. For IR, they've got to find a way to get offense beyond the sort of broken play that we saw the first touchdown and the thrown up one for the second.
Isaac Burnshaw, who was just added to the roster this afternoon, is going to kick off for Indian River as he does so right to left, and it is going to be taken on the 12-yard line by Glasgow. That's Martice Younger. He runs it up the middle, spins off the first tackler, but is taken down at the 32-yard line. So Glasgow, which won the toss and deferred, will start out with the ball on their own 32-yard line, moving left to right as we see it here at Bob Peoples Stadium.
And if you're Glasgow, there's going to be a need to do something on this drive. As you said, they did defer the opening kickoff in the first half. Of course, a couple plays into that drive, IR scored on the long touchdown pass from Sneed. It'll be interesting here to see whether, again, Glasgow sticks with that methodical game approach, what they used last year. They were famous for long drives ending in touchdowns. That's what they need to do to keep the pressure on tonight.
That was with Isaiah Wilson at quarterback, now at Smyrna, and Michael Cradle at wide receiver, now at Delaware State. The give is up the middle, and that's Tavion Jones-Hill. Gets around the left side and scampered out of bounds, but not till he picks up a first down. They're going to mark it at the 44-yard line, so a good start for the Glasgow Dragons.
Great start. Tavion Jones-Hill is one of those kids who can be electric, the word I kind of used to describe Kevin Custis tonight. They have a couple of these guys on offense. Tavion Jones-Hill is one of them who can really sprint to the outside and get around defense. We saw him do it there, a very quick first down for Glasgow. They're already out to the 44-yard line.
Moving north to south, wind not an issue like it was in the first half. As Marty said, it's going to be 1st and 10 on their own 44-yard line. Hatcher goes in motion, and the give is up the middle to Jones-Hill, and he picks up about 7 yards. They're going to mark it just over midfield. Actually, they're going to mark it at midfield at the 50-yard line. We'll bring up a second down.
Sorry, John. That's a great run again. You see there, Tavion Jones-Hill stopped after about 2-3 yards, carried some Indian River defenders being pushed by the Glasgow offensive line. They really kind of figured out in that second quarter that they can overpower these kids from IR at the point of contact, the line of scrimmage. Now it's just a case of making sure they hold on to the ball, don't make any mistakes. I'll be very surprised if we see one of those sort of out-of-nowhere passes from Glasgow like we saw in one of the last drives of the first half.
Second down, 4 to go. Butts is in the backfield, lined up behind Grinnell. Both slots are filled. Wide receiver out to the right. That's Younger who goes in motion. He gets the flip. Nice grab with the left hand. He's trying to get around the edge. He gets stopped at the 49-yard line, put back around, straight arm, drops the ball, picks it up, drops it again, and Indian River has fallen on it. So a fumble by Martice Younger is going to give Indian River the ball. And from the very snap when he had to reach out behind him with the left hand and grab it, that play went downhill from there.
I agree, and I'm not sure. I think there it looks like we have an injured player for Glasgow. John, that was a train wreck from the beginning, as you said, and frankly, I believe they'd probably have to give Younger 2 fumbles on that play. He did recover, try to make another move, and then fumbled again. So sort of adding insult to injury, and he actually is the injured player running off the field. But again, I just talked about they have to hold on the ball. Another self-inflicted wound from Glasgow. They keep allowing IR to stay in this game.
Keyshawn Jones injured early in the game on a punt return. We have not seen him back in the game since he left. He's the key deception guy based on the film that we saw, and there has been some confusion in the backfield of Glasgow since he left the game. That being said, Glasgow still has a 14-13 lead. Defense is their specialty. We'll see if IR can score on it. Custis gets the handoff, bangs head to the Glasgow defender, and is brought down by Michael Jones. A pickup of about 5, going to bring up a 2nd and 5 at the 44-yard line.
Custis is like a little pinball when he gets inside the numbers there. He's just bouncing off of Glasgow players. That time he bounced off, turned, and was able to pick up another 3 or 4 yards, turning what looked like it might have been a yard or 2 gain into about a 5-yard gain.
Custis only a sophomore, along with quarterback Sneed. Both those guys played sparingly last year. Each had a touchdown. Sneed through the air, Custis on the ground. Custis is flanked off to his right. Sneed gets the handoff, rolls out to his left, being chased by several Glasgow defenders, gets around the edge, and then gets run into hard and taken down. The first collision was by Joe Turner, followed up by Devin Johnson, who took Sneed to the ground. Sneed close to the first down. They're going to mark him about a yard short at the Glasgow 40-yard line.
A great job by Sneed again, but if I'm the coach of Indian River, Philip Townsend, I don't want my quarterback taking those kinds of licks. He had a chance. Now, he's a tough kid. He had a chance to get out of bounds. He didn't take it, and Turner unloaded on him.
That's the inexperience
yes,
of
it is.
A first-year starting quarterback. Wide receivers on both sides give us the Custis up the middle, just trying to get the first down. He gets it with his momentum, but not by much, maybe by about half a yard. And coming up with a cramp is Tymir Sewell, asking to be pulled out. I was going to say, we've done a lot of first games, Marty, where the weather's been hot and humid, and you and I have been cramping up in the press box doing nothing.
That's right.
It's been really a relatively injury-free game as far as cramps. That's the first sign we've seen of cramping. But this is the first game for these guys. You can talk about scrimmages all you want. It's not the same as playing in a real game.
No, it's not. There's nothing like that game-like experience.
First and down, 10 for Indian River. 8:52 to play, third quarter. They trail Glasgow 14-13. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan here on the Fox Sports 1290 Game of the Week, also being streamed live on 302 Sports. Little confusion in the backfield for Indian River. Sneed is shifting guys around. 2 men go in motion at different times. Sneed takes the snap and rolls out to his left. Looked like he wanted to pass. Tucks the ball, heads back around the right side. Almost escapes the tackle. That's a great shoe. String tackle by Michael Jones.
Michael Jones, a great job in the open field on Jalen Sneed. If he got past Michael Jones, he was going to go for 10, 12 yards at least. So a great job there. The second time they've rolled out Sneed looking for something on the left side of the formation. It's not been there. Reggie Grinnell and that Glasgow defensive backfield is shutting things down a little bit more than they did in the first half, causing Sneed to need to take off. That time he almost broke one, if not for Michael Jones.
That he lost 2 yards, brings up a 2nd and 12 ball on the 39-yard line of Glasgow. It's on the right hash mark for Indian River, moving right to left, and a little confusion in the backfield. Custis runs into Sneed, but comes away with the ball, gets around the right side. He's going to pick up the lost yardage plus about 5, bring up a 3rd, and looks like about 5 or 6.
I just used the pinball analogy about Custis, but he did it again. He ran into a wall on the right side of the formation at the line of scrimmage, bounced off, and ends up going close to the first down, making it a very manageable 3rd down for Indian River.
They mark it a little bit further than where he was tackled. Must have been the forward momentum. It's going to bring a 3rd and 3 ball at the 31-yard line. 2 wide receivers on each side of the formation, and it's a quick out here on the left side to Anderson. Anderson is quickly taken down by Sear Hatcher, so a nice play by Hatcher there. Looked like a sure first down when that first started.
You took the words out of my mouth. I thought that was an absolute first down. Jacob Anderson has been lined up in the backfield throughout the first half. In the second half, they've lined him up out as a slot receiver or a wide receiver. In that case, it looked like it was going to be an easy first down, as you said, but a great tackle in the Glasgow defensive backfield.
Anderson came up limping a little bit. I thought he looked a little hobbled early in the game. Stayed in there, didn't get the ball a lot, and that could be why. Handoff is to Anderson up the middle. He's got the first down. The big junior with a nice run up the middle is going to get to about the 21-yard line, tackled by a host of Glasgow Dragons.
And I think that play is a byproduct of what Indian River's been able to do all game. They've been rolling Snead out at different times. They've been sending receivers out in the formation on both sides of the field. That time, they used the middle of the field for a run. Glasgow's defense was spread wide. They were able to use the big Anderson to get the first down.
And Anderson comes limping off this time. Not sure if it's a cramp or not. We'll see when they tend to him on the sideline, whether they try to stretch something out. It's going to be a 1st and 10 either way for Indian River. Ball marked at the 22-yard line. A little delay coming out of the huddle. In for Anderson is Rashawn Turner. I don't believe he's touched the ball yet. He touches it now, tries to get over the right tackle, and he's going to be brought down just about at the line of scrimmage, going to bring up a 2nd down. So, Glasgow, we've seen a couple injuries. We've seen guys coming in, shuttling in and out. This Indian River team really relies on Kevin Custis and Jacob Henderson. So if one of them is out, it really does affect their offense.
That is, and that's why it felt like that's where that run came from right there. Jacob Anderson wasn't in the game. I think they wanted to give Kevin Custis a little blow as he carried a few times in this, has taken a few big hits. So, yeah, they're trying to keep those guys fresh, and hopefully they'll be able to get Anderson back in the game quickly.
No gain, 2nd and 10 on the 22. Referee has blown the whistle for some reason, not sure why. Custis is lined up in the right flanker position, and it remains Rashawn Turner in the backfield to the left of Snead when they get ready to snap it here. 2nd and 10, 5:32 to play. Indian River trails 14-13, trying to punch it in here. Passes on the outside and in and out of the hands of Angelo Nicholas, so nothing Snead can do that. That should have been caught. Wouldn't have been a first down, but would have gotten at least half of what they needed, going to bring up a 3rd and 10.
No, the sophomore Nicholas may have thought about turning and running on that. He had a little cushion. If he had caught that ball, he might have gotten a few more yards. As you said, probably wouldn't have had the first down, but that's from a confidence standpoint, you've got to catch that for your confidence and for Snead's.
Nicholas, according to the stats from last year, this is his first varsity experience that he's getting, so that might have been his first pass attempt ever. And Snead is brought down on the sack. A nice job there by Tymere Wilson coming in and breaking up that pass play. Going to bring up a 4th down.
Tymere Wilson, just like a missile out of that defensive backfield from Glasgow, just set his sights on Jalen Snead. Snead wasn't able to do anything. By the time he caught Chidi's eye, wasn't able to get out of the way. A great job by Chidi to wrap up the elusive Snead.
Going to bring up a 4th and 16. The ball's marked on the Glasgow 31-yard line. Although they've scored twice through the air, this is not a passing Indian River team.
No.
And so you've got 16 yards is a lot to get when you're not used to passing the ball. Snead drops back, looks left. He's being chased out of the pocket, and a nice shoestring tackle by Darren Bacon thwarts that drive of Indian River.
And, I'm guessing Philip Townsend, the one thing he didn't want out of that was a big sack. To be honest, I probably would have punted that ball, tried to pin Glasgow. Even if it goes 10 yards, you pin them inside their 20-yard line. Instead, after the sack, and we've seen Snead throw it away in similar situations in the first half, Glasgow sets up on their own 40-yard line, so great field position for the Dragons.
I don't mind the call. I agree, though, and maybe that's where you have a sophomore quarterback. You've got to get rid of that football and not take that big loss. And so a mistake there by Snead. One of the very few
yes,
he has
he's had
made
a really
tonight.
Nice game tonight.
1st and 10 on the Glasgow 41, moving left to right. As we see it, Tavion Jones-Hill is the man in the backfield. Younger goes in motion. The give is to Tavion Jones-Hill. He tries to squirt out to the left, ends up coming back, going to pick up about 2 yards before being tackled by a host of Knights, including Zachary Schultz and also Andrew White.
That was one of those rare plays where the Indian River defense has been able to hold their ground. There wasn't any significant holes made by the Glasgow offensive line, and Jones just kind of had to tap hands around there for a little bit, Jones-Hill, and brought down. So nice job by IR to hold their ground there.
2nd and 8. Glasgow with a 14-13 lead. 4:08 to play here in the 3rd quarter. After a longer first quarter, maybe partially because of the quick scores, the 2nd and the 3rd quarters have moved rather quickly. Not a lot of passing, mostly done on the ground by both teams. And both teams are more traditional running teams, so we're seeing what they normally do. 2 men in the slot, Jones-Hill in the backfield, and the give is to Jones-Hill again. Up the middle, trying to get to the 45, 46, and that stretches it out to the 48-yard line. Picked something up out of what looked like was going to be nothing.
No, that's a really nice job by Jones Hill again. And as you said, they've been doing that a lot more in the second quarter and here in the third, where they're getting something out of nothing. You know what's interesting, John, is Nyseem Butts. I don't believe we've seen in this second half.
No.
In addition, we haven't seen Turner much as well. So I don't know if there's a problem with Nyseem Butts, but we have not seen much of him, although he may be in the backfield now.
And it's going to bring up a 3rd and 3. Hatcher goes in motion. To give is to Jones Hill, and he's going to be stopped short of the first down right at midfield. Going to bring up an interesting call. It's going to be 4th and about 1.5 to go. It'll be interesting to see if the rookie coach, Michael Richardson, decides to go for it or not.
Yeah, this is an interesting call. If I'm Glasgow and Coach Richardson, I should be able to get 2 yards against this Indian River team. I've got a bigger, stronger, more athletic offensive line. I may send a message to my team here, look, we're guarding a 1-point lead. We cannot afford to give this over to them at midfield, but I'm putting it on you guys. You can get these 2 yards. I know what you're capable of. I'd go for it.
4th and 1. It looks like they are going to go for it. Now, remember, the punter is Reginald.
Yes.
The quarterback, Reginald Grinnell, and so he could certainly drop back. They could also be trying to maybe pull him off sides. We'll see. It's in the shotgun position, and it looks like, nope, they do snap it, and now it looks like maybe a delay. It was offsides. It almost looked like they were trying to wait for them to get offsides, and then they snapped the Glasgow ball.
I think they got him, John. I think
they did. They did.
Wow.
Offsides against Indian River, and so the 3rd penalty is a big one. It's going to give Glasgow a first down, so it looked to me like the offensive line moved before the defensive line, but obviously they're closer down there than we are, and it's going to be a first down for Glasgow. And, you know, a coach will tell you, Marty, in that situation, when you know what they're trying to do, you don't put it in the hands of the referee to guess who moved first. You just don't move.
You got to hold your water,
right.
And even if it means you get a little late start on a jump, that's okay. You do not want to give them the free 5. Yeah, Glasgow, I just talked about, it's a challenge to get that 2 yards. Indian River makes it very easy for them.
Now, Butts is back in the game. Good to see that. That means he's not injured. Wide receivers out to each side. Both slots are filled. I believe it's Younger and Hatcher in the slots, and Grinnell is going to drop back. Butts is in the block. He throws it over the middle looking for Younger, who gets tripped up, and they're going to throw a flag.
Wow, I don't know about that.
Not happy about that. That looked more like incidental contact to me.
It absolutely did. The feet got tangled up with the wide receiver. In the NFL college football, you're rarely going to see that called. Depending upon where the referee's standing, it may look like a shove was given, but to me that was all incidental contact.
So an offsides on 4th and short, which set up that next play, and now a pass interference call against the Indians is not only going to give Glasgow a first down, but is going to move the ball up to, they are marking it off the 15 yards to the 30-yard line.
That's
so a big mistake there.
2 plays, 20 easy yards from Indian River. Philip Townsend knows that his team cannot do that if they want to win this ball game.
And Phil Townsend was not happy. None of the coaches were,
no.
Including the ones above us, with that call, because the defender was turned around looking at the pass. And so, like you said, Marty, you don't usually see it called when the defender is turned around. And a quick snap, Grinnell wasn't even ready for it. Butts gets the handoff, though. Turns out to be okay. Scampers away from 2 defenders and is brought down at about the 7-yard line. Almost went in, but he is injured. Butts is on the ground, and he is rolling over in pain, grabbing his left knee. And we're not going to speculate, Marty. Phil Townsend, the coach from Indian River, comes right onto the field, even though it's not his own player, which is another indication that it's not good. So Butts with a big pickup. It's going to be a first down, 1:24 to play. Glasgow with a 14-13 lead. I believe the ball is going to be marked. They haven't marked it yet. They have. It's going to be marked at about the 8-yard line. We're going to go ahead and take a break while they tend.
They actually have 2 injured players.
Two players down. Yeah, Glasgow. So not a good play yardage-wise, but not injury-wise. You're listening to Fox Sports 1290 Game of the Week and watching it live on 302 Sports. Glasgow's got a 14-13 lead over Indian River and is knocking on the door.
We alarm our houses.
The Hadley Group is your local real estate resource. Brian Hadley joined Patterson Schwartz & Associates in 2005. In 2013, Nicole Flora joined Brian, followed by Emma Burnett and Grant Jepp in 2014. That's when the Hadley Group was formed. Patterson Schwartz Associates offer you exceptional knowledge of local market conditions and a commitment to represent you honestly and professionally. So for your next purchase or sale, think the Hadley Group. Visit our website at thehadleygroupre.com. The Hadley Group.
Welcome back to Bob Peoples Stadium at Caravel Academy. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan, Ronnie Vickers producing back in our Newcastle studio. And they are tending to Nyseem Butts, the Glasgow running back, who picked up a first down. But then as soon as he hit the ground, rolled over, grabbing his knee. One of the coaches, I believe it was Phil Townsend, the head coach of Indian River, ran right out onto the field. And so we can only guess that he probably heard Nyseem Butts screaming in pain, for lack of a better word.
They're going to get the cart for Nyseem Butts.
They're going to get the cart. He's moving his right leg. It looks like they've already got the left leg in a splint. Again, we're only going to describe what we saw. We're not going to speculate. He was grabbing his knee, rolling around in pain. And it looks like they have secured that left knee, and they're going to take him off the field on a gator. I would assume they've probably called an ambulance. I'm not sure if there is one here or not. But
the other injured player, just FYI, was Cortez Tall, the offensive lineman, the senior, 6'3", 235. He has since gotten up and walked off on his own power, so that was good to see.
So when we get back to the action, it's going to be 1st and 10 for Glasgow. 1:24 left to play here in the third quarter. Glasgow has a 14-13 lead. There's been no scoring here in the third quarter. 3 quick scores to start the game, 2 by Indian River, 1 by Glasgow on the 3 first possessions of the game, and then nothing until the final possession of the game. In fact, time ran out as Reginald Grinnell stretched for the pylon on the left side. If he doesn't stretch, he gets knocked out of bounds, and Glasgow goes in without that touchdown. So 14-13, Glasgow over Indian River, 1:24 to play, and they've got Butts up on the cart. He's showing his frustration about being injured. He actually has played a nice game to this point, had just been reinserted. You had just said, Marty, that we hadn't seen him yet in this third quarter. Nice job here by the fans, as you would expect on both sides, giving Butts a hand as he heads off on the cart. So 1:24 to play. Glasgow knocking on the door here. It looks like they've got it marked at about the 7-yard line. This drive started on their own 41 after they stopped Indian River on downs on a nice sack by Glasgow on the 4th down play.
And you know, that play actually could have been a disaster game-wise because Grinnell never saw the snap coming. It hit him in the face. He recovered in time and handed off to Butts, who ran down and make it a 1st and goal situation. So talk about making the lemonade out of lemons on that play, the quarterback Grinnell.
So now 2 key skill players for Glasgow out. Keyshawn Jones, we haven't seen since midway through the first quarter. And now Butts, the give is to Tavion Jones-Hill, and he works his way up the middle and stretches over. Touchdown. So a 7-yard touchdown run by Jones-Hill is going to extend Glasgow's lead to 20-13.
And the senior Jones-Hill, that's something we've grown accustomed to seeing from him tonight, fighting for that extra yardage. That time it looked like he was stopped at around the 2 or 3 yard line, kept fighting, kept his legs moving, eventually pulling the defenders into the end zone. So we're starting to see this from this Glasgow team, more of what we saw last year, more of the grit and determination to get that extra yard. For Indian River, they've played a fantastic game, but you get the feeling they're finally starting to wear down a bit defensively.
And so with 1:19 to play, Glasgow with a 20-13 lead. This extra point they're going to try for 2 is critical because it will make it a 9-point lead. Tavion Jones-Hill gets called on. This time he gets barreled up inside and is no good. Nice tackle there by Jason Killen, the first one in. So with 1:19 to play, Glasgow has extended their lead, 20-13 here at the DFRC Kickoff Classic. This is the Fox Sports 1290 Game of the Week, and you're also watching it live on 302 Sports.
More than 1 million veterans are returning home over the next few years. These men and women have elite military training and valuable professional skills. They also need jobs. FoxSports1290am.com is leading the iHeartRadio Show Your Stripes movement to support hiring vets. Get involved at FoxSports1290am.com. Search vets and learn about business and employment opportunities. Hire smart. Website powered by military.com and monster.com.
High school football on Fox Sports 1290, FoxSports1290am.com, and iHeartRadio Fox Sports 1290.
It's the DFRC Kickoff Classic. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. Glasgow has a 20-13 lead, 1:19 to play here in the third quarter. Just got a text message from the executive director of DFRC, Dr. Tony Glenn. He's got 2 more events this year. They're going to end up giving out $60,000 in grants to at least a dozen or more organizations around the state of Delaware. In the 62 years DFRC has been around, of course, started with the Blue Gold All-Star football game, they have distributed more than $6.1 million to organizations that support and promote people with intellectual disabilities. Yasir Hatcher getting ready to kick off for Glasgow, left to right as we see it. Custis is back, and he gets it at the 15-yard line across the 20 to the 25. Takes a little back track, comes back around, spins around. Going to be a block from the back, so whatever he gets, which is going to be to about the 3-yard line, a tackle there by Tymir Sewell, but the entire stadium saw the block from behind, so that's going to come back.
Yeah, you heard the IR fans almost give a collective groan on that one as they all saw that block coming. It was a good thought. Custis actually looked like he may have been able to make that turn on his own to cut back, but his teammate did get the block in the back, and unfortunately it's going to pin them very deep for this drive.
So it was interesting. Bordeaux was back when normally Anderson would be. Anderson hobbled off in the last series. We haven't seen him back in since. Looks like he's being treated, having something wrapped down right in front of us, so we'll see if he gets back in. I seen Butts carted off with an apparent knee injury, and we wish him nothing but the best. Hopefully it's not as severe as it looked, and that he'll be back, if not next week, sometime this season. And we haven't seen Keyshawn Jones, the Glasgow slot back, since about midway through the first quarter. 1st and 10, pushes the ball all the way back to the 10-yard line, and the handoff is to Custis, and he gets taken down immediately. In there on the tackle was Tymir Wilson.
Glasgow really starting to assert themselves on both sides of the ball. Again, we said all night they outweigh. They're a little more athletic. They're quicker than the IR offensive defensive lines, and we're starting to see now as they got a little bit of a lead, they're starting to gain more confidence. They're really starting to overwhelm that IR offensive line.
Snead in the shotgun formation. The give is to Bordeaux. He goes over the right tackle, and he's met immediately and picks up no yardage after a loss on the last one. It's going to be pushed back to the 5-yard line with 24 seconds left to play. That will probably be the final play of the third quarter. And as I say that, the play stops. There's an injured Glasgow player. Looks like a cramp. Looks like he's trying to stretch out a cramp. We'll see. So there's 21 seconds left to play, so there probably will definitely be at least one more play. You're never in a must-score situation when you only trail by a score and you've got an entire quarter of football left here. But, Marty, I think it's important that Indian River makes some headway here, if for no other reason, so that they don't give the ball right back to Glasgow in their own side of the field.
That's just it. I mean, if they're not careful, if they don't get something on this one, they're going to give Glasgow the ball inside the IR 40-yard line at worst. And IR's got some good Glasgow has some good return guys. So, yeah, I think this is critical they pick up something here because Glasgow has totally shut off the middle of the running game for Indian River.
Snead standing on his own end zone, fake to Bordeaux. Snead looking deep. He's got Custis. Custis falls under. He's got it at the 40, the 50. One man to beat, and he gets brought down from behind by Martish Younger. Saves a touchdown, but what a throw and what a catch. Sophomore to sophomore, Snead to Custis.
You know, that's amazing, and I'm sure the Glasgow fans will hate this, but there is absolutely no excuse for that ball being completed. That's Kevin Custis, who has been the main guy all night, running right past, untouched actually. No one picked him up out of the backfield. A safety finally ran over towards him as the ball was in the air, but a great throw. Snead, I said this in pregame, he's got a stronger arm that it belies his size. He's not a big kid, but he really has been able to get something on the ball, and boy, you could not have handed that any better to Custis.
And so that is going to bring us to the end of the third quarter. Biggest play of the night, maybe, for Indian River High School. We'll see what they can do with it when they come back. They're in Glasgow territory. Glasgow with the lead, though, 20-13.
Hooters of Newark is located at 136 Astro Shopping Center, Newark, Delaware. Come in day or night to watch your favorite teams and sports on our many TVs. It's a great, fun-filled environment that is kid-friendly. Our craveable food menu has all the appetizers, burgers, salads, tacos, seafood, you name it, as well as our world-famous Hooters wings, which are the official wings of 302sports.com. Remember, you can always order online to take home our world-famous wings. It's your couch, our wings.
Welcome back to the Delaware High School Football Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290.
Sophomore quarterback Jalen Sneed was in his own end zone, and he found Custis up on the left sideline for about a 50-yard pickup to give life to Indian River. They were pinned back, getting ready to punt, and instead they've got a first down on the Glasgow 43-yard line, moving left to right now as we begin the fourth quarter of this DFRC Kickoff Classic. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. Ronnie Vickers back in our Newcastle studio producing tonight's game. Sneed gets it. He hands it off to none other than Ben Custis, who gets tripped up, fumbles the ball, picked up. No, it's still rolling around, and it looks like Custis came back and got it. Big mistake by a Glasgow player for trying to pick it up instead of falling on it. Lucky break for Indian River.
John, that's the old cardinal rule as a defensive coach. You tell your guys, secure the ball. Don't worry about running with it. Glasgow cost themselves field position at the 50-yard line. And again, Custis took a wicked shot there, causing him to fumble, kind of threw him up in the air. He lost his handle on the ball, but a hustle to come back and recover your own fumble, which he was 5 yards away from when he eventually hit the ground. So just a great hustle job by Custis.
Kevin Custis, 5'7", 145 pounds. He's playing like he's 6'2", 200. Sneed back, fires over to the right side. Has his man at the 40-yard line down to the 39. That's Jason Killen. They're catching his first pass of the night. Not quite a first down, but got back a little bit more than half of what they lost on that last play.
And you get the feeling that Coach Townsend has said, you know what, Sneed has been on target. He's got a strong arm. They're going to start to use this more. That's the first time we've called Killen's name tonight.
Killen's a junior, didn't have any catches last year, probably his first varsity catch. Sneed's got it. No, goes right past him. Picks it up on his own 45. He's being chased, and he's going to be brought down well behind the line of scrimmage. In fact, he's back in the Indian River territory. They're going to mark the ball at the 48-yard line. So a couple fumbles there. Didn't lose the ball, but they've lost plenty of yardage on both of them.
You know what? I feel like that's one of the cardinal rules of the offense, the quarterback. Once you get back there, you fall on the ball and take that as a loss. He ended up costing himself 5 to 8 more yards in the process by trying to pick it up and make something happen. Again, a young quarterback making his first, we believe, his first varsity start.
So after a big pass by Sneed, they've moved backwards on the last two plays underway here. 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Indian River with the ball, but trailing Glasgow 20-13, getting ready to punt the ball away. Another bounce punt back to Bordeaux, so he's just going to pick it up and run. He's across the 50 to the 40, tries to leap over Glasgow, and instead Reginald Grinnell takes him out. A clean play, but a Sports Center highlight type play.
Holy smokes, John, my ribs hurt after that one. Reginald Grinnell. First of all, the punter, the ball skipped back to him again, but Glasgow, I think he anticipated more of a rush than there actually was. He had time to get that off. Instead, he just kind of took off like a bat out of you-know-what until Reginald Grinnell caught him about 10 yards short of the first down and just delivered a wicked blow as he tried to leap over Grinnell, apparently. But a big break for Glasgow. IR, you know, they had that big pass play, which allowed them to at least flip the field, get out of their own area. So even with Glasgow taking over at their own 39, this could have been much worse for IR.
Yeah, the only bad thing is because they didn't score, but they've also knocked another 3 minutes off the clock since that play. So with under 10 minutes to go now, Glasgow's not going to be in any rush to throw the ball and attempt stopping the clock. They're going to try to grind it out and get as much time off the clock. Both teams have their 3 timeouts, according to my stats. And it looks like somebody's going to take one here. That's going to be Michael Richardson, the rookie coach for Glasgow. Didn't like what he saw. Looked like a little confusion. We're going to take it with him. 9:59 to play. Glasgow with a 20-13 lead. They've got the ball. Going to try to grind this thing out and head away with their 10th consecutive opening game victory. This is a Fox Sports 1290 Game of the Week, and you're watching it live on 302 Sports.
When you're feeling hungry, you don't want to mess around with a quarter-pound meat sandwich. Instead, eat one of Arby's new half-pound roast beef sandwiches. 8 ounces of thinly sliced, tender roast beef. And if you really want a quarter pound of beef, that's cool. Just eat half of a half-pound roast beef sandwich. Introducing Arby's new half-pound roast beef sandwiches. Arby's, we have the meat.
High school football on Fox Sports 1290, foxsports1290am.com, and iHeartRadio Fox Sports 1290.
Glasgow High School's got the ball on their own 39-yard line. 1st and 10, 9:59 to play, coming out of the timeout. They're first, and they're moving right to left as we see it. They're on the right hash mark right now. Reginald Grinnell, the senior, who made a beautiful tackle on that, what turned into a punt, or a run on the punt, is in at quarterback, and he hands it off to Younger, and he gets forced one way, turns back, and heads the other way. He's going to end up picking up about 5 yards there. So Martise Younger made a lot out of what could have been nothing.
He did. Jodiah Morris made a gallant effort to bring him down by the jersey. Wasn't able to hold on. Younger ends up getting 5 yards out of play where it looked like he might lose about 5.
Going to bring up a 2nd and 6 for Glasgow. A big thanks to our newest partner, NKN Films. Actually, it's the second year we've been partnered with them for their outstanding design on our 2017 high school football schedule poster. One player represented from every team we'll cover this year. Visit nknfilms.com for all your video needs. 2nd and 6 for Glasgow, a 2013 lead. 9 minutes to play here in the first game of the Delaware high school football season. And a little miscue there. Tevion Jones-Hill comes away with it, and he's still working his way up the right sideline. He's going to pick up a first down before he finally gets taken out at the 44-yard line. And I'm not sure if that was the wing tee or if that was a miscue. Just didn't look like it was run the way it was supposed to.
We can give them the benefit of the doubt, but I'm with you. I think that was more a miscue than anything else. You know, Tevion Jones-Hill has sort of been the unsung hero tonight. He's been the guy for Glasgow that has made something happen when they get in trouble situations. Every time he's touched the ball in the second half, he's made something positive happen.
Haven't seen Joe Turner.
No.
Nyseem Butts taken off. He's out for the game. Hopefully that's all. And so they are down skilled players as Jones-Hill gets a handoff again. He's going to be close to the first down, probably about a yard shy, up to about the 36-yard line. Most importantly for Glasgow, the clock is continuing to run. It's going to be under 8 minutes to play before they run their next play.
That's right, and they're going to continue to grind like this. They're starting to open up big holes, that time between the guard and the tackle on the right side. Tevion Jones-Hill just kind of walked through that hole, and he's able to maneuver his way with his speed and agility to pick up a first, or close to a first down.
They're going to call it 2nd and 2 when all is said and done. Both slots are filled. Jones-Hill is in the backfield, and the give is to Jones-Hill again. He goes in over the tackle, comes back outside, works her way around the edge, and is going to pick up a first down. Going to mark him down at the 24-yard line. So a first down for Glasgow, and the clock continues to run. Once they get the ball set, it will go at 7:54 to play.
Great job by Jones-Hill again. That time the handoff looked like it was a play designed to go up the middle. He saw that it was clogged. He bounced it to the outside. The offensive line, the tight end, the slot receiver did a good job of sealing off that side of the Indian River defense, and Hill a nice gain. And apparently there was a penalty which we didn't see.
Yeah, and they haven't called it yet. The ref picked the flag up.
It's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big one. Here we go. It's a hold, so it's going to be a hold for Glasgow. That I have them only for 3 penalties. There was one that was declined early in the game.
Yes.
3's not bad. I think Michael Richardson would have signed up for that in a heartbeat for the first game.
The biggest thing that will get him going, get his fire going, is the 2 of them were of the personal foul variety.
Right. And so it is 2nd, and the clock says, or the scoreboard says 11. That looks to be about right. Fumbled snap by Reginald Grinnell. Flag comes out, and this will probably be an offside. It's going to be an illegal motion.
They're actually, I think what happened is the ball was snapped, and the center started to move before anyone else did. And then the referee ended up calling that a false start. Again, we've seen those exchanges. Grinnell doesn't have a ton of experience at quarterback. That's something, boy, if they can get out of here with a win after this tough game, with the experience they've gotten, they will have played in a close game. This could end up, the injuries notwithstanding, this could end up being a big positive outcome for Glasgow as they look back on this as the season progresses.
Yeah, that's for sure. Their season gets, I don't want to say it gets easier here immediately, but they play. They host McCain, they play at Brandywine, and then they host Dickinson, 3 non-playoff teams from last year. Next, I want to say the most difficult game coming up in the next 4 will be against St. Elizabeth in Week 5. 2nd and 16. Hatcher goes in motion. The give is up the middle. Turner is back in the game. Doesn't matter. He loses 2 yards. I'm glad to see him back in the game. I was afraid he was injured also. And actually, as I say that, he is on the ground.
Wow.
And he is rolling around in pain, which you typically don't do when you're cramping
up.
No,
this is it's starting to get to the point of ridiculousness. You feel for these kids. I mean, they are really, the defensive backfield is just being devastated by Glasgow tonight by the injury bug. You hope this is something that's not serious. As you said, this was Turner's first play in quite a while. He fumbled in the first half and has really played sporadically since then. But, boy, you hate to see another injury.
Yeah, and he doesn't look like they're trying to – well, he does have some water. Maybe he is trying to work some cramps out. That would be a good thing if that's what that is cramps. Nyseem Butts has already left with what looked to be a leg injury. Keyshawn Jones got injured in the first quarter on a punt return. Haven't seen him since. And now they're helping Joe Turner off the field as well. It's going to be 3rd and 17 as Glasgow hurt by their own penalties here. They had a good drive going. The clock was moving, and now between the penalty and now the injury, it's taken about 5 minutes to play the last 2 minutes of clock time. 7:03 to play. Glasgow with a 20-13 lead. The last time they lost a home opener was in 2009, so they're trying to win their 8th straight. I said 9th a few minutes ago. I stand corrected. Their 8th straight home opener here. The last 2 have been against Henlopen South School Seaford. Seaford, not an outstanding team by any means. I think they won maybe 2 games in the last 2 years. But this team, Indian River, is giving Glasgow all it can handle. As Grinnell takes the snap, he drops back, and he gets forced out of the pocket and picks up a nice run. Looks like he's going to pick up a first down. So, when you're a first-team All-State defensive back, you're the leader of the team. You make that kind of play to get them back in.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I feel like that was kind of a statement run where he didn't slide there. He didn't go out of bounds. He kind of lowered his shoulder and tried to run over an IR defender and ended up getting the first down. That felt like it was more about motivating himself and the team than even about getting the first down. That was something he desperately needed. It's been a real up and down night for Reggie Grinnell, but for a kid who doesn't have a ton of experience at quarterback, that this could be a great learning experience for him.
Yeah, it sure can be. The goal of every coach, especially Michael Richardson, a rookie coach, is to win his first game, and that's what he's trying to do here. And he's seen some good things and he's seen some bad things, as so has Phil Townsend, and that's what first games are all about. 1st and 10 ball on the Indian River 33-yard line. The give is up the middle, and again it goes to Tavion Jones-Hill. He battles off some defenders and then gets stood up. And one of the Glasgow players is pointing forward like, he should be up there another 2 yards. So it looks like they're going to give him about a 3-yard gain after all it's all said and done.
He continues to do a really nice job. Again, not a huge kid, but got a great motor, has always gotten something positive. Now it looks like we're going to get another personal foul possibly.
So the referee threw the flag behind what would have been the Glasgow huddle. And
he's calling an
unsportsmanlike conduct. Darren Bacon is holding his helmet as if they called it against him. And again, I'm only going by his. He must have said something.
I'm guessing he felt
near
something.
Anybody.
Yeah, there was some complaining after that play, and you wonder maybe if he was complaining about a hold that he thought should have been called or something. But yeah, the referees aren't going to take a lot from high school kids when it comes to that stuff. So the flag comes out quickly. And again, you said it a little bit earlier. Every time they take 2 steps forward, 1 step back for Glasgow on this drive, whether it's been penalties, they've had a couple injuries on the drive. Shooting themselves in the foot has been kind of a habit tonight, whether it's also putting the ball on the ground.
And the one thing they didn't want to do on this drive is stop the clock, and they've done it to themselves for the second time now. This one with an unsportsmanlike conduct for apparently talking to the ref. 2nd down, 21 to go. Ball on the 43-yard line. Hatcher goes in motion. It's going to be a toss to Hatcher. He's going to go behind Jones-Hill's block. He gets around the edge of the outside. Goes by one defender and dragged out of bounds. That was a nice hit out of bounds over there by Brandon Cheedy. Not going to make it quite to the first down, but certainly made up a lot of the yardage. Going to bring up a more manageable 3rd down, probably about 5 when it's all said and done.
And that was the best executed end-around pitch that they've run all night. The pitch was perfect. Yasir caught it in stride. He turned the corner, and that's something, again, they're getting better as time wears on here. Hatcher really hasn't been able to do much of anything tonight. That was a great, again, confidence run for him as well as moving the chains and getting them into a 3rd manageable.
Also gave Jones-Hill a break, who's managed most of the load with Butts out of the game and Turner having just left the game with what looked to be cramps. 3rd and 4. The give is to Jones Hill, and he's going to get stopped short of the first down. They're going to mark it at about the 25 and a half. We'll call it the 26-yard line. That's going to bring up a 4th down.
It's actually a hold. Actually, they just called a hold on Glasgow as well. So this is actually an interesting call if you're Philip Townsend, because it's going to be about a 4th and 5, or do you make it a 3rd and 15?
No, I think you make it a 3rd and 15.
I do too. Or 3rd and 10, excuse me,
Yeah.
as they move back. I agree. I don't want to give this team that's starting to rip off chunks of yardage a short field, because at this position of the field, Glasgow's going to go for it on 4th down anyway.
Yeah, Phil Townsend's telling him what he wants him to do. I think he's telling him to move it back. Now, it's from the spot of the hold, which you still go back.
Yes.
You know, it's not like in the NFL where it's from the line of scrimmage, but you still go back. You've got to send Glasgow back, because now you're really putting them into a situation where they haven't had a lot of plays where they picked up this much yardage.
No, they haven't.
If you keep them at that 4th and 4, 4th and 5, they've done that all night.
Yes,
even
they
not
have.
on 4th down, but you know what I mean.
But this quarter especially, they're really starting to rip off chunks of yardage. So I agree 100%. Make this 3rd and 15, 16, and make them earn it on the next 2 plays.
They're calling it 3rd and 16. Grinnell is lined up in the pistol formation. Jones Hill is behind him. Younger and Hatcher are lined up on the right. Michael Jones, we haven't heard from him tonight. He's all the way right in front of us on the left. It's on the right hash mark, so they've got the large part of the field is on the left side. We'll see if they work it in that direction. Hatcher goes in motion like he did on the last play, and the pitch is to Jones Hill this time. Hatcher's going to be the blocker, and he gets taken down immediately. A great job on the defensive side of the ball by Zachary Schultz. He read that play the whole way and shut it down.
He did. He was on the tail of Jones Hill the entire time. That time, shut that down right away. You're right. He kind of played his hunch on that one, set his sights on the ball carrier, and Jones Hill got nothing.
Indian River's taking their first time out to stop the clock. We're going to take it with them. 4:40 to play. Indian River trails 20-13 to Glasgow. Indian River hoping to get the ball back. It's 4th down for Glasgow when we come back.
School bus drivers, custodians, nurses, paraeducators, just a few of the education support professionals who help schools in Delaware run smoothly every day. This is Mike Matthews, president of the Delaware State Education Association. Ensure that our students have a safe ride to school, healthy meals, and a clean environment to learn. So take a moment to say thank you to the ESPs in your school.
A message from the Delaware State Education Association. Welcome back to the Delaware High School Football Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290.
Biggest play to the game coming up here in this DFRC Classic. Glasgow's going to have a 4th and 15 on the Indian River 32-yard line. Indian River trails 20-13. They called the timeout, hoping to start the Dragons here and get the ball back with some time on the clock. Indian River scored on 2 of their first 3 possessions on long pass plays, have not scored since. 4:40 to play. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. The 8th annual DFRC Kickoff Classic kicks off the 2017 Delaware High School football season. Here we go. Reginald Grinnell is back to punt. Remember, he's the quarterback, but he punts it away, and he's just going to roll here, and Indian River's going to let it roll, and so is Glasgow, and it's going to roll all the way down to about the 6-yard line. So if you're going to punt, that's the way to do it.
I love that decision. I actually thought they might try to do a play where they try to draw him off sides, and then he kind of drifts back and does a pooch punt, but instead they go with the straight punt. He angles it off to the right side so they can't get a return going. It takes a great bounce inside the 10-yard line. So now all of a sudden you have an Indian River team that has occasionally been able to get yards through the air, big chunks of them, but now they've got to go 90-plus to have a chance to tie this.
Since the second score early in the first quarter, Indian River has punted, turned it over on downs, and then was going to punt, and Bordeaux ended up scrambling and got tackled. So this may be Indian River's last opportunity to try to tie this game up. Sneed falls back, or drops back, I should say, almost gets tackled for a safety, escapes, is around the left-hand corner, gets knocked out at about the 12-yard line. So a pickup of about 5 yards. You know, we've talked about sometimes the inexperienced plays that he's made. That was a very experienced play to make sure he didn't get tackled in the end zone.
Yeah, he's got to make sure. They actually had him drop back, take about a 5-step drop on that one. He's not going to be able to do that against this Glasgow defensive line. They're going to be charging at him, so they're going to need to do something to get rid of this quicker, whether that's a crossing pattern or some type of bubble screen. they're not always going to be rely on just going back and chucking it 30 yards down the field.
He also got out of bounds on the play to stop the clock. Handoff is up the middle to Rashawn Turner. I think that's the first time we've called his name tonight. And so not sure, Kevin Custis, I'm not sure if he's not in the game. Jacob Anderson left the game with an injury we have not seen. He is sitting down in front of us with ice in his ankle tape, so he's clearly done for the night. We'll see. I do see Custis is out there, just not lined up at running back. It is Rashawn Turner lined up at running back. 3rd down and 4 to go. The ball is on the 12-yard line. Snead rolls out, looking to pass. He points up to go up the field, and he's got his man with a reception there. A big hit at the 38-yard line. That was Jaquan Floyd, the sophomore, making probably the biggest play of his career to not only pick up a first down, but to stop the clock while they move the chains. And we actually have a Glasgow player down, injured, and we have a flag back in the backfield, which I just happened to see. So, and Indian River walking, they're picking it up.
And again, the frustration continues for Reginald Grinnell because he was covering the receiver Jaquan Floyd on that one, who kind of came out of the tight end position. But again, Grinnell beating a perfect throw. Again, Snead has done such a nice job rolling out tonight. One of the things that appear to be his strength is throwing on the run. We've seen what he can do from the pocket, but he's also been pretty pinpoint, including the first touchdown of the game, which he threw about a 30-yard rope as he rolled out to his left.
Now, I was watching the receiver make the move. Was it Michael Jones that had that big collision
with
Jaquan Floyd?
Yes.
So no wonder he's down. Floyd's 6'2", 200 pounds. We don't have the stats on Michael Jones as far as height and weight, but he's not 6 feet tall, and he's probably a $160 soaking wet, as good a player as he is. So shaking up a little bit, he is walking off on his own power. Now, Indian River hustles right back out because as soon as the referee gives a signal, the clock will start. 3:43 to play. Indian River's got 2 timeouts left. They're moving left to right. They've got a first down on their own 37-yard line. And the fake up the middle this time, play action pass. Snead rolls out, fires it to the right side, and in and out of the hands of his receiver. That was Jason Killen. So, you know what? He was only going to pick up about 3 yards, and the clock was still going to run. So it's kind of like a good drop. Almost.
I would say that's a good trade-off. Yeah, the time you were going to burn off the clock really wasn't worth the 5 or 6 yard gain you were going to get there. They've started now. It almost looks exclusively rolling out to the right. I'd be curious if at some point they use some misdirection and roll Snead back out to the left, where again is where he hit his first touchdown pass of the night.
And he's on the right hash mark, so the big side of the field is on the left. The fake is to Custis. He fires it out to the left, but the catch is made on the knee. And so that was Rashawn Turner, who had a little bit of real estate if he had stayed up. But, of course, in high school, as soon as your knee goes down, you're down. So actually lost looks like they gained a yard, it looks like, maybe.
That's one of those tough ones where you want to secure the catch, but of course you got to make sure you get your knees off the ground before you secure that ball. So again, that's a big one because the clock continues to run at 3rd and 13 now.
And so they actually marked it at a 2-yard loss when all was said and done. So a big play here, 3rd and 13. Snead fumbles the snap a little bit, then fires it up to the right, trying to find Custis, and Custis is covered well by Yasir Hatcher, and so the ball ended up being out of bounds. And smart play. I don't know whether Snead did that on purpose, but nobody was getting that ball.
No, Custis was blanketed there by 2 defensive backs, including Reginald Grinnell. So, yeah, you get the feeling they're not going to allow Custis, as he was the recipient of their last big throw downfield. They're not going to let that happen again.
Interesting decision here. They brought Bordeaux, the punter, onto the field. It's 4th and 13, 2:46 to play. Now, Indian River does have 2 timeouts. Now they're switching again. Bordeaux's still on the field, but they've switched almost their entire line there. And I was going to say Indian River's going to have to take a timeout because they can't have much time left on the clock. And
that kills the decision. Because now, of course, you burn that timeout. Now you've got to go for it.
Right.
That's kind of interesting. I wonder if there was some confusion there among the coaching staff, because that's just you never want to take a timeout in a situation like that where it's a dead ball. You had thrown the ball out of bounds, so you don't even get the benefit of a stopped clock with that timeout.
Yeah, and you know what? The last 2 punt attempts, Bordeaux has had to catch balls that weren't even close to getting back to him. And so the last one he tried to run out, and Reginald Grinnell made the big tackle there to make it a turnover on downs. But I agree with you. I don't think this is what the third-year coach, Phil Townsend, was hoping for, to burn a timeout when the clock's not even running to try to make a decision here. And, it will be interesting. We still don't know what they're going to do. Bordeaux has been on the field because Anderson's not.
Yes.
And so we can't say just because he's on the field they're going to punt. And it looks like they, in fact, are not going to punt. Custis is lining up out here on the right. Snead is going to be in his traditional pistol shotgun position. And Rashawn Turner, who had an earlier handoff, he's going to be flanked out to the right. So 4th and 13, certainly a passing down. You would assume 2:46 to play, 20-13. Glasgow leads Indian River. Rushes on. Snead throws it up for grabs, trying to get it to Custis, and it's almost picked off. Instead, it's tipped to Custis, and Reginald Grinnell whips him down, but not till he's to the 10-yard line. So they had it defended, and Hatcher tipped it, and it ends up in Custis's arms, and nothing can go wrong for that kid tonight.
You have got to be kidding. He is blanketed by double coverage. The ball is thrown about 35 yards, but it was still underthrown by a good 4 or 5 yards. The defender, Hatcher, reaches up, touches it, and it directly skips off of him and goes right to Custis, who has the heads up to turn around, catch the ball, and then really a great job by Grinnell to not give up on that play and to tear him down, Custis, because that looked like it was going to be a touchdown.
It's on the 10-yard line, 1st and 10, 2:25 to play. Snead hands it off, and he's bottled up inside. That's Rashawn Turner. So the good thing here, only one timeout left for Indian River, but really they don't have to worry about the clock down in this side of the field.
No, this is it. I mean, you've got just about 2 minutes to go in the game. They're down here. This is win or lose for Indian River right now, or tie, as the case may be, as they're down by 7 points.
Phil Townsend is in his 3rd year. He's 6-14, so he won 4 games the first year, 2 the next year. It might be safe to say this could be one of the biggest wins of his young career, traveling all the way up here, playing the Blue Hen Conference champs and going toe-to-toe with him. 1:46 to play, 2nd and 8 to give is to Custis, and he's brought down. No, still on his feet, but wasn't able to escape the grab of Darren Bacon. A nice play by the Glasgow defensive line. Bacon pointing his finger out there. He's got to be careful not to pick up an unsportsmanlike taunting penalty there. That would be huge. Not a smart play there by the junior off defensive lineman.
No, not at all. And if you're Indian River, that was kind of interesting. It looked like it was slow developing. Plus, to give Custis the ball on the very short side of the field, there was 11 Glasgow defenders on that side of the field. It's very unlikely that he was going to break through that for a touchdown. So I kind of feel like if they're going to do something here, it's obviously they're either going to have to go through the air or they're going to have to take this to the wide side of the field.
A great play by Darren Bacon. I'm not taking away from that, but my guess is Michael Richardson's going to review that film with him tomorrow.
And
we've
seen that a couple times from Glasgow tonight. You're right.
All right, 3rd and 11. Snead has it. He drops back, rolls out to the right, fires to the pylon on the front right corner, out of bounds, no good. So it's going to bring up a 4th down and goal to go from the 11-yard line. This could be it.
Again, they've fallen in love with rolling out to the short side of the field, and that time there was just no throwing lane at all for Snead. He ended up throwing the ball out of bounds. The wide receiver was covered by 3 Glasgow defensive backs. They're really limiting their options by doing that. They need to either keep Snead in the pocket, not for very long, or roll him out to the wide side to try to get something to happen here.
And the only All-State player on the field, Grinnell, is on that side of the field. And this time they do go to left, and a flag comes down. We'll see if it's a delay of game or an illegal motion. It's from the far side. They are going to say it's against Indian River.
Oh, they're calling offside on Glasgow.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, and I think they're going to call it against Darren Bacon.
Wow.
And so what's the old saying? What goes around comes around.
That's right.
Celebrate a great tackle that he made, but it's going to cost his team 5 yards. And, Marty, what this does is it opens up the opportunity to maybe run.
It gives them a ton more options now. That little 5-yard gain, you're right. You could do a lot of different things here now that would have been much more difficult to do from the 11-yard line.
1:03 to play, 4th and goal from the 5-yard line. Snead is back as he's been. He's going to roll to his left, and he's looking in the end zone. He fires it up. He's got his man Custis, touchdown in the back left-hand corner. Indian River has pulled within 1.
We just talked about it. They needed to do something to get to that side of the field. They roll out. For some reason, how you leave number 3 unguarded in the back of the end zone. And let's face it, that wasn't a bullet pass. He floated that to the corner of the end zone where Custis was just waiting for it, cradled it, and it's a 20-19 game. So Boy, Glasgow, how do you let number 3 out of your sight?
And Custis isn't going to outleap anybody.
No,
and
it's
so
not.
it had to be a perfect pass. And, boy, Snead just having an incredible night. That's his 3rd touchdown pass. Custis was on the other end of both of them. Jacob Anderson, who's out with an injury, on the other end of the other one. So 57 seconds left to play. Indian River has pulled within one, 20-19. They've called their 3rd and final timeout as they're going to go for the win and the conversion here. And I have a hunch that the ball's either going to be in Snead's hand or is going to be put in Custis' hand.
I agree.
We'll see what happens.
Now, we know there was an extra point that was drilled through earlier in the game, so we know they're fully capable of making the extra point. That said, I agree with this 100%. I don't know that this undermanned IR team is going to hold up in an overtime situation against a Glasgow team that is going to be highly motivated if they got there. So I actually like this. Philip Townsend putting confidence in his team, saying, look, win or lose, I'm going with you guys.
And so it's going to be from the 3-yard line right between the hash marks. And it's going to be Reshawn Turner, who's lined up to the right of Snead. Custis goes out to the right flank, and it's to Snead. He's rolling out. Looks like he's going to try to get to Custis in the back of the end zone, and it's tipped around, and it's caught by Custis. It was tipped twice by Glasgow players who didn't knock it down, and Custis ran under it, grabbed it, and Indian River leads by 1.
This is hard to believe. I mean, that's the second time in this drive that Glasgow has had a bead on the ball, but that time you had 2 Glasgow defensive players kind of almost run into each other, distract each other. The ball gets tipped instead of intercepted, and right into the hands of Johnny on the spot, Custis, who has been that man all night long for Indian River. This is incredible. It's hard to believe.
Oh, boy, Hatcher got his hand on it, but didn't knock it down.
No.
And, again, I'm not saying that he could knock it down. It just didn't get knocked down. And it got tipped up in the air. I know another Glasgow player didn't catch the number, caught it. And, again, the heads-up play by Custis now, that's 2 plays on the same series that most receivers give up on at that point.
So easy to give up on it at that point, you're right. To keep the presence of mind, to keep your head on the ball, you have to adjust to it. Just amazing. Custis has shown so much tonight. He's really kind of propelled himself into the statewide discussion of guys to watch over the next several years. And
so they're hoping to break Glasgow's 7 opening game win streak dating back to 2009. They've won 7 straight openers, and Indian River's hoping to make a happy bus ride an hour and a half south of Georgetown here, but they still got 57 seconds left to play, and this Glasgow offense has the players who can score quickly. If I'm kicking off here, I'm doing my best if I am Alberto Alamilo to kick it away from the skill position players.
I agree 100%.
And he punches it down toward the end zone right past Reginald Grinnell, who's going to let it roll into the end zone, and it will come out to the 20-yard line. So with 57 seconds left, we're going to leave it right here. Indian River has stormed back after being shut out. The last time they scored was with 6 minutes and 34 seconds left in the first quarter, so halfway through the first quarter. And then Snead's pass to Custis, the long pass that got tipped back to him, and then he runs it down to the 10-yard line. Several plays later, another play that is just an unbelievable catch, not an unbelievable catch, an unbelievable pass to the left-hand corner by Custis, and then the unbelievable catch on the 2-point conversion.
You know what? Tomorrow night, we've all talked about, we got maybe the game of the year in the first game of the season. We may be looking at potentially the upset of the year in the first game of the season here.
And one heck of a game.
Yes.
57 seconds to go. I've got Glasgow with 2 timeouts left. That is unofficial. And Grinnell's got it, the senior veteran. He drops back, and he's looking left, rolling right, and he fires to the right sideline. Has his man, trying to see the number there. We've got quite a glare here. It looks like Devin Johnson making his first catch of the night. Picks up about 8 yards and stops the clock, more importantly.
Yeah, that's not a bad play, but they're going to need more than 8-yard clips to get this done. But it is a good sign right off the bat to see Grinnell throw an on-target pass. This is a big situation for the senior, the guy who doesn't have a ton of experience playing quarterback. Again, he's had his struggles from his all-state position at defensive back tonight, so it'll be interesting to see if he can put that out of his head and focus on getting this team down into at least a position to score.
2 starters out, Keyshawn Jones and Nyseem Butts. Tavion Jones-Hill in the backfield with Grinnell, who gets forced out of the pocket, still being chased around, gets out to the right side. His goal now is to get out of bounds, and he does. and Samuel Miltner of Indian River makes sure that he does. Picks up the first down and stops the clock, but still not picked up a whole lot of yardage. 39 seconds left to play. They're going to mark it at the Glasgow 32-yard line.
And you see the athleticism of Grinnell on display in that play. He looked like he could have been sacked for a big loss. It would have eaten up a ton of time off the clock. Instead, he's able to scramble around, get himself out of bounds. I'll tell you what, I'm impressed. The IR defensive line all of a sudden now, granted, they got a little blood flowing through their veins now, but they're a little fired up. They're not getting blown off the ball at all
and
here.
Fans are still here. You can hear the cowbells. I don't know if that's a tradition down at IR. I know it is at Middletown. But it's going to be 1st and 10. Ball is on the 31-yard line. Grinnell is in the shotgun position. And behind him is Tavion Jones-Hill. Man on the flank on the right, 2 wide receivers on each side. Grinnell's going to fire it up down the right side. He's got Younger, and Martice Younger gets hit as soon as he goes for the catch, and it gets intercepted by Indian River. That's Adam Bordeaux, the punter, who runs it back and gets tackled at the 38-yard line, and that might be the final blow for Glasgow.
Wow, and again, and that time, again, the tips are going Indian River's way. That one was tipped, and right back to the Indian River defensive back, Bordeaux, who got smoked as he tried to run for a first down earlier in the game. But if this stands, that's ball game.
I'm not sure if there's a personal foul.
Oh, they're roughing the passer on Indian River.
Okay, so.
And you know what? They did the defense. I don't remember the number. He did take 2 steps after Grinnell released the ball and hit him in the back very hard. I didn't see a flag come out at the time. He must have decided to throw one, but boy, that is an absolute killer penalty for IR.
Yeah, it's one of those things. We were so focused on the end of the what a great play it was on the other end by the defense, and we've got the glare that we're dealing with here at Glasgow. It's one of the few, or Caravel, one of the few press boxes where you can't open the windows, which is perfect in the winter.
That's right.
But not so much here in the summer. But nonetheless, it's going to be still 1st and 10. There are 15 seconds left on the clock, and Glasgow is taking a timeout. That is their second timeout, according to my unofficial stats. Indian River with a 21-20 lead. There are 15 seconds left. Glasgow's got the ball 1st and 10 after the roughing the passer penalty. That would have been an interception otherwise and probably sealed the game for Indian River. Instead, it is on the Glasgow 46-yard line. And during the timeout, I want to remind you that UD takes on Virginia Tech on Saturday at 3:30, and you can hear all the action starting with Blue Hens game day starting at 2:30. Scott Klatskin and Matt Janskin bring you all the action on our sister station 94.7 WDSD. Glasgow comes out of the timeout. They're lined up, ready to go.
Boy, I don't get that timeout. I understand they want to set up, but boy, if they get tackled in bounds, they may not get it. They're going to have a timeout, but they've only got the one.
Right, and they still got 55 yards
exactly.
to go.
Exactly. It's not like a skip and a jump to the end zone. Yeah, they've got a ways to go here.
They need 2 big plays in 15 seconds. Here we go. 1st and 10. Glasgow trails by 1. Hatcher goes in motion. Grinnell's going to keep it in his hand. Rolls out to the left. He's across midfield to the 50, 40, and out of bounds. Pushed out of bounds by Bordeaux. Is going to stop the clock with 6 seconds to go.
The only thing I can figure is that was the game plan, to get him into possession where he could throw it into the end zone, because that's for any high school quarterback, unless your name is Drew Fry, is not going to be able to throw it from the 40, 45-yard line into the end zone. So if that was the plan, there is a flag on the play, and if that's on Glasgow,
it is against Glasgow.
Oh boy!
And I'm not sure what it was. I saw the very end of the motion, but I didn't see it.
Well, that takes it away, because now we got looks like a hold on Glasgow, and now this becomes the last play of the game, and Grinnell simply doesn't have the arm to make the throw, nor do most college quarterbacks in the United States. So they're going to have to do a catch and run or some type of catch and lateral. Now, they do have the athletes, so they are missing some big key guys that they'd love to have out here right now. So if you're Indian River, this is one of those ones where the defensive backs stay what they're doing, about 10, 15 yards out. You've got to keep everything in front of you. You cannot let Glasgow get behind you.
Glasgow must not have any timeouts, because I'm not sure why you wouldn't have taken it.
I don't either.
Grinnell looks tired.
Yes.
He jogs slowly back onto the field after getting the play from Michael Richardson. Glasgow trying to win it for the first time for their rookie coach, Michael Richardson, who spent the last 7 years as a defensive coordinator 5 at Glasgow, 2 the most recent years at Appoquinimink. Here we go. 5 seconds to play, and Grinnell fumbles the snap, picks it back up, sprints out to the right, being chased from behind, and he's going to be thrown to the ground, and that's going to do it. Jediah Morris puts the final stamp on Indian River's first win of the 2017 season, and they're celebrating like they should, a well-earned victory by the Indians.
A huge, huge win by Indian River. Let's be honest, they had absolutely no business coming in here and winning this game. They're not as good a team as Glasgow is on paper, but my goodness, you put these kids out there. They fought tooth and nail all night long. They fought for every yard. They got helped along the way by a few lucky breaks. They also got a few Glasgow penalties, but these kids made this win happen. They never quit. Custis had the game of his life. You got a sophomore, 145-pound quarterback that played his heart out. Just an amazing all-around effort. And the Indian River defense, which was up against a much bigger, stronger Glasgow offense, held their ground. I mean, they held them to 20 points, 22 below what they allowed per game last year against a very good team.
All righty, so that's going to bring us to the conclusion of the DFRC Kickoff Classic. Marty and I are coming back right after the commercial for the American Spirit Federal Credit Union postgame show. You're listening to High School Football Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290 and watching it live on 302 Sports.
American Spirit Federal Credit Union brings you
Kasasa. What's Kasasa? It's a catchy word for earning cash that just might make you want to dance. Get paid for doing simple things you do anyway. That's free Kasasa checking.
Ask for Kasasa by name at American Spirit Federal Credit Union.
The Orioles' final homestand of the season starts on Monday, September 18th as the Birds continue their push toward on Tuesday, September 19th.
Caravel Academy campus, where Indian River High School, you have to say, has upset Glasgow High 21-20 in the 8th annual DFRC Kickoff Classic. I'm John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. And Indian River scored on the first series of the game and the last, and one in between. And ironically, a team that wasn't expected to pass very much scored all 3 times on passes plays. Jalen Sneed found Kevin Custis on the first series and the final series on just incredible passing plays, nice catching plays, and then a 2-point conversion where he also found Custis in the back of the end zone after the ball got tipped twice, and then he also threw a touchdown pass to Logan Anderson, a 60-yard touchdown pass down the right sideline on the second series of the game. So what looked like was going to be a high-scoring shootout ended up not being so much, with nobody scoring in the second quarter, Glasgow not scoring till a minute left in the third quarter when the Butts went out and got hurt, and a 7-yard run by Tavione. We were going to be in for, Marty, but what we got was a great start to the 2017 football season.
Oh, my God, this was amazing. I feel like ESPN needs to do a 30 for 30 on this game. This was up and down. It was amazing. I mean, the Indian River, you know, I was going to say, you know, I called this, I believe, 21-20 at the beginning of the game.
I think you did, yeah.
Oh, my God, our predictions were so far off. I mean, this had every making. If you watched an Indian River scrimmage, if you looked at the stats, if you looked at their performance historically over the last couple of years, there's no way anyone could pick Indian River to win this game outside of probably these couple hundred folks who made the trip up and the kids that came up on the bus. this was just an amazing effort. I mean, there were many different points in this game where it would have been easy to say, you know what, we're a 2-8 team. We're not going to win this game. They're the Blue Hen champs. And they never did. They kept fighting. You had the kid Custis come up with play after play. Just an amazing dig deep type of win for our first game of the season. This is going to be hard to top.
Yeah, it sure is. And what a great game. A perfect football night. Beautiful night. It's now a crisp. It almost feels like fall out here. It's probably about 60 degrees outside the press box. And so just a beautiful night here. You feel bad for Michael Richardson losing his first game as a head coach. First time Glasgow's lost in the last 7 openers. They had a 7 opening game win streak here. Got to feel good for third-year coach Phil Townsend. Like you said, Marty, this type of win can be a catapult to bigger things during this season. Certainly has to go down as one of Phil Townsend's biggest wins of his young career in just his third year as a high school football coach. So what's up next for these two teams? Glasgow takes on McCain at home next Friday night at 7. We're assuming that game will be played. I had heard they were real close to being able to move this game back to Glasgow, and so I can only assume that game, the press box, will be done, and it will be at Glasgow. Indian River gets to travel home tonight. Like you said, Marty, right when we went to break, it's going to be a much shorter bus ride than it would have been had it gone the other way, and they lost the heartbreaker. Instead, they're going to travel home knowing that they host Polytech next week, and their home opener going to be a very spirited week down in Georgetown at Indian River High. All right, we're going to take our second break of the post-game show. When we come back, we'll announce the Crown Trophy player of the game and talk about our next game here on Fox Sports 12. An hour and a half at least, maybe longer by bus, up from their Georgetown campus here to Caravel Academy. Took down the Glasgow Dragons 21-20 in the 8th annual DFRC Kickoff Classic, one of the biggest wins, if not the biggest, of third-year coach Phil Townsend's career. Glasgow moves to 0-1 on the season. Indian River 1-0 in a game that took 2 hours and 30 minutes. It's now time to announce our Crown Trophy player of the game. Crown Trophy in Glasgow and Wilmington have always been proud supporters of Fox Sports 1290 and the student athletes in the state of Delaware. Visit Crown Trophy for all the best in trophies, and make sure to check out their varsity letter sports balls. Continuing with the Crown Trophy tradition, each player of the game this season will win a customized Crown Trophy award plaque, and the school receives one as well for its trophy case. Visit crowntrophy.com. Marty, the floor is yours.
John, there were a couple great performances tonight. Quarterback Jalen Sneed for Indian River announced himself to the state. Has an amazing arm. He's a small guy, 5'7", 145 pounds. Did a great job moving the ball around, running the offense. The Indian River defense did a fantastic job containing this Glasgow offense that we thought was going to run up and down the field on that Indian defense. They held their ground all night long. They bent but didn't break most of the time. But for me, the guy who got it all done tonight was Kevin Custis for Indian River, the sophomore, who's only 5'7", 145 pounds, carried the ball 35 times, 114 yards, and 1 touchdown last year, was absolutely electric every time he touched the ball. Tonight he had 2 touchdown catches. He had the winning 2-point conversion catch. He made some nice plays on special teams. He was all over this field. He never got down. There were some plays where he kept his concentration unbelievably, where most kids probably would have coughed it up to or chalked it up to, the play's over. We didn't get this one. He never backed off. So for my money, the Crown Trophy player of the game is Indian River sophomore Kevin Custis.
All right, Kevin Custis might be 5'7", 145 pounds in stature, but he had a huge game on the field tonight as Indian River will make their way back to Dagsboro. A friend of mine down, Brian Hall, down in the southern part of Delaware, said actually it's in Dagsboro that Indian River High School is in. Thanks for tuning in, Brian, and making that correction. So it's going to be a fun bus ride back down there for Indian River. All right, for us, next Friday, we're back here at Caravel Academy when we'll see the Caravel Bucks host the St. Mark's Spartans. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff between a Caravel team that has reached the playoffs 4 out of the past 5 years and a St. Mark's squad that has a perennial playoff team in Division I, but in its 2 seasons playing in Division II has yet to reach the postseason. We're going to be on the air with our pregame show at 6:30, followed by kickoff at 7 p.m. That's going to do it for tonight here at Bob Peoples Stadium. Thanks to our producer, Ronnie Vickers, for keeping us up and running. For Marty Sheehan, I'm John Busby. Once again, the final score, Indian River 21, Glasgow 20. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, good night from Caravel Academy.
This has been the Delaware High School Football Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290.
Thanks, you guys, too.
1290am.com and on the